Happy morning to you. Hope you guys are having a great day. So, what I'm going to be doing today is going through exactly what I did to build a multi-million dollar fitness company and then go on to build well over $100 million company that has turned into elite CEOs. And so just a few weeks ago, these are going to be all posted on my YouTube. We're going to have all the free resources, the scripts, the ads, the funnels, the messaging, the sales, the templates, everything that you need to be successful, we're going to give to you. Now, as I'm going through this, again, keep in mind, all this is going to be posted on YouTube, all the videos, and we're going to have everything with it. But what I want to do today is go through step by step through the offer, how I created an offer that was so powerful that I was able to build a massive fitness company. And then number two is how to get lead generation, because what a lot of people mistake with fitness professionals and trainers in general is they're great at the training, but they're horrible at sales. They're horrible at marketing, and they don't actually know how to build a online fitness company. So what I'm hoping to do today with you is take you through this A to Z process on how I built a multi-million dollar fitness company. Now, this is going to be a 6-part series. So today we're going to go through parts 1 and 2. And then the next day, we're going to be going through parts 3 and 4. And the next day, we're going to be going through parts 5 and 6. They're all going to be at the same time each and every day. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the training. How I made a fitness offer so good, I became a millionaire in under 12 months. And this actually happened. This is a real life story. This wasn't written out of a fiction book. This actually happened. To prove my point, this was me at one point. I was a fitness model. I was very serious about it. I was getting paid to do photo shoots and modeling shoots. It was my life. And I really thought that I was going to go on and, have a massive fitness career and be a big time fitness influencer. And I guess you could say I did for a little while, but this is where I really got my start. And what I thought I was going to do is get a really big social media following, blow up there. I was following guys like Steve Cook and Bradley Martin. And I really thought I was going to follow in those guys' footsteps. And I was going to make something big of myself in the fitness industry. These are some of my clients. As I started building this online fitness business, you can see some before and afters. This was years ago. So, apologize for the editing. It wasn't very good at the time. I did my very best. And this is around when I started this fitness company. It was around 2017. So this was the end of 2016. 2017 is when I started. And to date, at the end of 2023, I've done over $100 million in sales. And I started by building a multi-million dollar fitness company. And for most of you who are fitness professionals, you know that there's not a lot of money to be made at gyms. There's not a lot of money to be made as gym owners. The companies that make a lot of money are the chain gyms, LA Fitness, 24 Hour Fitness, Crunch Fit, etc. So if you're a solo trainer and you want to make a lot of money, the only way that I've seen that you can really become wealthy, truly wealthy, millions of dollars, is to go online. I've seen no other path. And a lot of times when people point that out, they just get upset and say, oh, well, I can give better results in person. But at the end of the day, I want to help people too, but I also want to be wealthy. And so it's all about leverage and creating that right vehicle. To date, since that time, and I built that multi-million dollar fitness business, we have had 50,000 clients to date, 25,000 of which have been fitness professionals. We've worked with a lot of trainers. In fact, the way I got started in this business was I started helping trainers. Trainers asked me for help after they saw what I'd done in the fitness industry and what I built. They started asking me how I did it. And that's how I actually started getting into business consulting. It was not planned. It just happened. And what I want you to do as we're going through this train is keep in mind that this takes a lot of hard work. Okay. Everyone starts at a different point. Not everyone's going to make it. And going $0 to $10,000 a month is as hard as $10,000 to $100,000 a month. It's extremely difficult. And you can do it, but I just think a lot of times when people think about this, they don't realize that they're pushing a boulder at the bottom of a hill. And so as you gain that momentum, it actually gets easier, not harder. And so in the beginning, a lot of people, I think they underestimate, how much work it's going to take, but then they overestimate how much work it's going to take to keep going. Once that boulder is moving, okay, once it's going and going and going and going, it's easy to handle. It's easy to continue to skip. Okay. So you can do this. I don't want to scare you off, but at the same time, it is hard. It takes work. Everyone starts at a different point. Maybe you have good sales ability. Maybe you don't. Not everyone's going to be cut out for this. All right. Not everyone has a six pack. Everyone knows how to get one, really, to be frank with you. It's just some people are not willing to do the work. So as you're going through this, I want you to keep that in mind. And again, I'm going to be breaking everything down. Like I'm going to show you exactly what I did to build an online fitness company, multi-million-dollar fitness company. We're going to give you all the scripts, the funnels, the ads, the templates, everything. This will also be posted on YouTube. But keep in mind, you have to be willing to do what it takes. And I'm very straight and to the point. I really try to tell people the truth, but only you will know if you're actually going to do what it takes. Now, what we're going to cover over these next 6 videos, okay, we're going to do 2 each day. So today we're going to focus on how to make fitness offers so good people have no choice but to say yes. All right. So show you how to craft that. Number 2 is then how only 40,000 fitness leads in a year made me a multimillionaire. That sounds like a lot right now, but that's only because you don't know how to generate. We're going to go through that. Day 3 is how we nurtured over 1.5 million leads that have turned to over 50,000 clients. So more lead nurturing. Day 4 is going to be sales, right? How we've done over 100 million in sales with a very simple strategy. We're going to break that down. Day 5 is how we've helped our clients generate over $1 billion in sales, even more now. And then 6 is how to double revenue with no extra ad spend. Okay. That is how this series is going to break down. That's what we're going to show you. That's what I'm going to show you. And all you have to do is tag along. All I ask is as you're going through this is to pay attention, share this with someone that might be a online fitness trainer or a fitness professional. This is free information. It's going to be as good as it gets. And it's coming from someone who's gone through the trenches for the last 6 years and seen a lot of stuff. Now, let's dive into how to come up with the perfect fitness offer. All right. It's going to be obviously around their health. Okay. You have health, wealth, and relationships. Because this is for online fitness trainers, fitness professionals, we're going to stick in the health niche. Makes total sense. 99% of people on earth want more health. They want to be in better shape, 6-pack, look better. Okay. People will pay tons of money for cosmetic surgeries for this reason. Everyone wants to be healthier. There's no reason why you can't sell someone on this as long as you can get them to understand that you're better than the other competitors, the other options. Examples of this, very simple, right? How to lose weight, most common. Most people want to lose weight. They're not so worried about building muscle. How to do a handstand, how to be more flexible, how to have balance, how to fix back pain, meditation, yoga. I've seen all of these. All of these can be successful. All of them can work. It's just what you feel most comfortable with and how big is the market size. The biggest market size for fitness is obviously weight loss. That is a big one, right? Because a lot of people overeat. They don't train. They don't work out. Therefore, that is probably one of the biggest ones. Now, if you want to even simplify this further, one of my good friends, Alex Hormozi, came out with a book a couple of years ago. It's called $100 Million Offers. Alex has done even more revenue than me. So he's a stud. He knows his thing. And so I don't usually endorse things. Like I don't get any affiliate commission or anything like this. But in his book, he broke down how to create a perfect offer in a way that I never thought of before. It was very logical. And I was always doing this, but I never had heard it in a way that was so simple, so simplistic. Okay. In that book, he breaks down how to do a perfect offer. So what you need to focus on is determined outcome. So do they want what you're selling? So weight loss, typically, right? Perceived risk. What's their chance of success? And then how long is it going to take and how much effort they have to put in? The 2 biggest driving factors is the bottom because anything divided by 0 is 0, right? So if you can get them instant results without any effort or sacrifice, it's usually going to trump the top. But these are the 4 quadrants that really make up someone's ability to buy or how much they want to buy, how easy it is to sell. And the reason this is important is, yes, sales and marketing is pivotal to being successful in business. But what's even easier is if you have a good offer that's easy to sell. Because the better the offer, the easier it is to sell. And therefore, it is easy to become rich. Because once you have something easy to sell, people will, step over other people or, swim through canals and so forth to get you to get to your offer because it's better. If you take that example and then you move it into different types of fitness packages, how to lose weight, how to build muscle, you'll start to be able to understand what is the best offer I can offer someone while still being truthful, right? In a perfect world, we all know someone wants to eat donuts, have a six-pack, not move. But we know that's not realistic. So what is the best promise we can give them while not lying? That's really what we need to be focusing on here. So to give you an example of that, right? A typical fitness offer, go to the gym, work out, eat healthy. It's a little harder to sell because there's a lot of things people have to do. So for example, do you want to lose weight? Yes. Okay. What's your chance of success in a weight loss plan? It's not very high. If I looked it up on Google, what would it say? What is the chance of success for people who lose weight? Probably not very high. In fact, I bet if I looked up how many people in America have a six-pack, it'd probably be, I don't know, I'd say 1 to 3 million people. There's 300 million for context. So 1% of the population. Very low. The time delay might be, 3, 4, 5 months, 12 months, depending on how big they are. And then there's going to be a lot of effort and sacrifice. The reason people will pay a ton of money for liposuction is they lose weight instantly. There's really no risk outside of a normal surgery, right? Like it's going to work. It's going to happen. They get instant results and they just lay on a bed. And so the reason I'm showing you this is to get you to understand is obviously if you're not a plastic surgeon, you can't offer liposuction, nor should you. But the goal is, okay, how can I make this as easy as possible for them? How can I make it as fast as possible? How can I guarantee their results as much as possible? And it can't be perfect in every single offer, but your job as the fitness professional is to get as close to perfect as humanly possible. Now, other things that can help make your offer better are going to be bonuses or big promises. So, for example, a money back guarantee. Don't recommend doing that. We'll talk about it for a second, but that's something you could do. Hey, if you don't get at least, lose 20 pounds, I'll work for free till you do. Or I'll do your grocery bills or your, grocery list or your meal plans or shopping, free blood work. You can also throw on bundle bonuses like retreats or one-to-one days with you where you fly out and you do a workout in the gym, whatever it may be. Because again, this is typically online. But the key is really just to add more value. At the beginning, you can do a little more crazy offers if you'd like to get clients and get results, but you need to also protect yourself with conditional guarantees. So let me give you an example. When you buy a product on Amazon, if it doesn't get shipped to you, you get a money-back guarantee because you didn't get what you paid for. With consulting, the hard part is it's always an argument, right? If I'm a business consultant and you paid me and you worked with elite CEOs, for example, and you came in and you didn't get results, I could argue you didn't do what we told you to do. And you would probably try to argue that what we told you to do doesn't work. When it comes to weight loss, here's the cool part. If they don't lose weight, it means they're eating too much food. It is literally impossible not to starve to death if you stop eating food. There's not one person on earth who doesn't eat food. That's a lie, right? We'll put it that way. So what that means is you can put in conditional guarantees to protect yourself. So for example, I'll work with you, and if you don't lose 20 pounds, I'll refund you if you send me a picture of your food every day, if you check it to your app every day, if you text me every day, if, right? You start putting in things that you know will drive results so that if they don't do it, you're not held liable. You're not on the hook, okay? That's the key thing here, because if you don't do that, if that's not the case, then what ends up happening is not much. Nothing really happens because you do all this extra work and then they don't do the work and then you end up giving a refund, right? So you got to be careful. Guarantees are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But when it comes to service-based businesses, particularly in the fitness industry as well, you have to enforce conditions that force the outcome. Otherwise, you're just refunding a bunch of people. And that's not good for your business either. So make sure that you understand, hey, if I put in bonuses and bigger promises, this can help me sell more. But also with that in mind, and with that being said, you don't want to put yourself in a bad position. So make sure that there's conditional guarantees around it. So for example, let me give you an offer now that you've seen one that does work. So going back to this liposuction, right? That's obviously a really good offer. I'll show you an offer, that doesn't work. Okay. So you come on, you're like, hey, I'm a normal trainer. I'm going to do a customized solution, customized meal plan. It's going to take you 4 months to lose weight. And obviously it's going to take effort, right? Looking at the bottom example here. That's what most trainers do. And that's why most trainers are poor, because they offer the same thing that everyone else offers. So keep in mind, when we think of high-end brands, Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, whatever, it's not that they do something different than the other purses, right? They're just perceived as better. And so the reason you're not perceived as better is because you sound like everyone else. And if you sound like everyone else, no one's going to pay more money for you because you're not perceived as more valuable. So why would someone pay for more when they can get it for less? You cannot sell as a regular fitness offer. You cannot sell as a regular trainer. People won't respect you. They won't buy from you. You're going to have a massive issue. So going back before we move into pricing, I want to give you the offer that I did. Okay. So my offer, trying to get as close to this one as possible, was how to eat whatever you want without how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. That was the offer that made me a multimillionaire. Now watch how it checks the boxes. So they want to lose weight, check. Is there some risk? It was when I explained it in my marketing, and we're going to go into that in the second part of this series with lead generation. But I want you guys to keep in mind that what I did is I wasn't lying, because if you're in a caloric deficit, if it fits your macros, you're not lying, right? If I say you can eat whatever you want as long as you stay within these guidelines, and let's say the guidelines is 2,000 calories. Now, if they eat 12 Snicker bars, right, it's more than that. So let's say 4 Snicker bars on their 400 calories a piece, they will lose weight. They'll also feel like shit, right? I think we can all agree with that, but they will lose weight. And so the goal is, when I'm getting on these sales calls in my marketing, and we'll go into that in the lead generation series, is yes, hey, you're going to feel better if you eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, of course, but we also know that on your birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, New Year's, you're going to eat bad food. And because of that, we have to figure out a way for you to eat bad food and still get results. Does that make sense? So as long as you stay within these guidelines, you can eat whatever you want. Okay. And so what I was focusing on is, unfortunately, I couldn't promise them instant results, and I couldn't promise them no sacrifice. But what I did is I lowered the chance that they would fail, because they know in the past the reason they failed is because other trainers put them on restrictive diets and regimens. Okay. Keep in mind, my perception of fitness as well is that it doesn't matter how much they really work out. It's good for them. It's healthy. But if I could take the average person, just fix their diet, they're going to lose weight. They can sit on the couch every day, but if they ate better, they're going to lose weight. And when I say eat better, at least in a caloric deficit. So I wanted to make sure I covered that, because that was the offer that set me apart from other trainers. Because when I would get on calls, I go, man, every other trainer tells me I have to work out a bunch and do tons of cardio and eat broccoli and rice. And, I just don't know if I want to do it. I was like, yeah, you don't have to. And I was still able to stay ethical. I was able to stay in alignment with my morals, but I'm still able to make a ton of money. And then once you sell them what they need, sell them what they want, you give them what they need. And then as I came in my program, they started learning. You'd be shocked at how many people don't understand caloric deficits, don't understand macros. The average trainer does, but remember, that's not your customer. It's the overweight average Joe who's never done a diet, never read a label, doesn't understand any of it, right? So I wanted to make sure I gave you the example of my offer versus another trainer, because most trainers are just like, customized diet, customized nutrition, it's this much. And the reason they can't sell it is because they sound like everyone else. So with that being said, let's now move into pricing. So most people's goal is 10K a month. So let's just go off of that. All right. And we're going to do an organic example. Organic means reaching out to people for free, right? People who either message you or you're messaging them. They're not coming from ads. You didn't pay for it. Maybe it's a referral. That's what organic means. So most fitness trainers or professionals' goal is 10K a month. I can't tell you everyone, I want to make 10K a month. If I make 10K, that's the goal. So we're going to go off that. So let's pretend you sell your fitness program online for $800. Now, on average, these are the numbers you should expect. So if you send out 100 messages on Instagram, I don't care if you have 0 followers or not. It's irrelevant. Okay. I was not successful because I had 1 million followers. Way more people have way more followers than me. I make way more money than them. It's irrelevant. Get that out of your head. If you look over here on the left, the $800 product, it takes on average, if you send 100 messages to strangers. So let's just say you want on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll show you how to do this in lead generation section. You just start sending messages. Okay. Let's say you go out and you start knocking doors in your neighborhood. I don't care how bad you are at sales. I don't care what you're selling. Someone's going to respond. Someone's going to open the door. Okay. In this case, I tell people, look for 10 to 15 people to respond. So if you send a Facebook cold DM means, again, a stranger, they don't know you. You just hit them up out of the blue, or IG, 10 or 15 respond. If you're good, and it could be higher, but this is like, I'm going to give you low numbers. Could be as high as 30. But let's just say 10 to 15. Let's say you book 3 to 5 sales calls. Again, we're going to go over what to say, how to say it, when to say it, etc. And you close 1. That on average is going to take you 5 hours, because you're going to set about 100. You're going to do 20 an hour. Then you took 5 sales calls, right? We're just going to take the high number. So that's 10 hours of work to make $800 if you get 1 sale. And that's if you sell. And remember, some of you watching this are not skilled yet. You think you're good at sales, you're not. You think you're good at messaging, you're not. Right? You're the same type of person who goes on dates or tries to go on dates and you can't get the girl and you think it's all the girls are crazy, but you just don't know how to ask girls out. The number one thing about being successful in life is you have to start taking massive ownership for where you're at. Everything in your life is your fault, and things will change when you take ownership of your life. I've seen that in every category of my life, not just business. So that's not bad, but that's only $80 an hour. So realistically, you might as well still just work at the gym at that point, because for that much work, it's not really worth it. So you have to make 12 sales just to make 10K. It's okay. Well, it's good. $80 an hour. I'd say it's better than average. But is it worth making the whole switch? I don't think so, personally. I mean, I wouldn't sell for $800. So then we go to 1,500. Same numbers, but it gets a little better because now it only takes 7 sales to make 10K and we're making 150 an hour. A little better. 3,000. Now we're making 300 an hour. A little better. 5,000, 500 an hour. Even better. And so I sold on average, and my clients, but I'll give you where I sold. I sold on average $3,200 programs for 4 months. So I was in this range per hour of work. Some of my products I sold over this or programs. Some of my clients sell for 4,800, 4,000, 5,000. It's crazy the type of results that you can get when you just price it properly. And keep in mind, when you sell it at a high price, you're able to do more work to get a customer. The problem with selling low price things for $50, like an average trainer, most trainers, when they're trying to move online, it drives me nuts. They just try to sell stuff the same price they sell at the gym, $50, $100. The problem is you can't get out of a hole because you don't make enough money to market or run ads. We're going to talk about ads later. How have I built a $100 million company? Do you think it's from posting on social media with my links? Or do you think it might be that I pay Facebook, Instagram, YouTube for individuals like yourself who are watching this right now to watch my stuff and buy my right? And so how can I afford that? Because I sell it at a high price point. I sell it at 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, and I take a little bit of that cash, put it in my pocket, take the rest of it, put it back in my marketing. And it brings me more customers and more leads constantly, right? It's a conveyor belt. I'm always feeding the beast. I'm not just, I posted on Instagram and hoped it worked. So that is how you can get to a higher price point. Now, you're wondering, well, Tanner, what do I say? How do I say it? We're going to go through that in a 6-day series. Okay. I can't do everything in this one video, but I want you to understand that first and foremost, if you don't have it presented properly, you don't have a good fitness offer, and you don't price it properly, you're not going to make any money, and you're going to be a broke trainer, right? Rich dad, poor dad with Robert Kiyosaki, you'll be broke trainer, rich trainer. Okay. You have to learn these things. You can make a lot of money in fitness, but it has to be online, and you have to package it properly, and you have to market it properly. If you're not willing to do that, you'll be the really good trainer who's broke. It's that simple. Now, if you want to run ads, here's where it gets even more interesting. So let's go to the left. So let's say you spend money on Facebook ads and you sell for $800. This is why low ticket products don't work, especially for people without big followings or big payrolls or big trust funds or money in the bank, whatever. It doesn't work. Here's why. If you spend $1,000 on ads, on average for fitness, you'll get $10 leads. And out of those 100 leads, if you get 10% to book a call, which is good, you're going to have 1 close, right? Your result is negative $200. So it doesn't work. This is why people can't run ads. This is why people look at me and go, man, how is Tanner able to make so much money? Now, there's a lot more to it, of course, I'm very skilled, and those things have to be in check, right? Like if you just run $1,000 on ads, this doesn't automatically happen unless your systems and processes are set up. We're going to go through that, but you're not even giving yourself a chance to win. So when we go to 1,500, a little better, 500. When we go to 3,000, a little better, 2,000, and 5,000 is the most. It's a $4,000 profit. Why is that important? So you can scale, so you can actually make millions of dollars and pay other people to do the work. How do you think I afford 70 staff members? Do you think it just happens? Or do you think I actually have to have money to pay them? Right? And so to be able to do that, to be able to pay people, to be able to have payroll, to be able to help them, pay bills for their families, the business has to generate a lot of money. And so for me to do that, I need to sell it at higher price points so I can pay for paid advertising, put that back in my business, and the business will always make sales. So that's how I became a multimillionaire in fitness. I wasn't posting a bunch of content. I wasn't, crossing my fingers and hoping people saw my link. I wasn't building a massive following. That takes a lot of time and effort and dedication. Doesn't work for everyone. I was putting money into the ads, into marketing. I'd get X amount of leads and clicks and calls, and I close X amount on the phone. And I built those skills over time and over the years, and I got really, really good at what I do. So hopefully that's really clear to you guys. So an easy rule of thumb, though, is if you're starting, start $1,000, and then every time you make a sale, go up by 500. Okay, if you're scared and, oh, no one's going to buy that, Tanner, I was where you were at. Trust me, I was selling a $47 program called the Rapid Muscle System. I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was bullshit. I couldn't believe, this would work. And then I started making sales over the phone, and it completely changed my life. I couldn't believe it. Completely changed my life. All right. You can do this if you're willing to put in the work and if you're willing to learn how this thing works. The next thing is, once you understand how to make the offer, okay? So for me, again, it was how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. And then I would market it and go into sales that way. And we're going to go into that in the next section. Then you got the pricing, right? You could sell, I've seen fitness people sell anywhere between, on average, $1,000 to $5,000 for 3 to 4 month packages. You just saw that. Now it's priming your profile. So I can't go back because I had a different Instagram and profile when I was only selling my fitness, but this is what this is what I have now. And when you look at my IG and you look at my Facebook, it's very easy to tell what it is I do, right? It's not very complex. You're not guessing, you're not wondering, you're not hoping, it's very easy to tell what it is I do. And so you need to make sure that when you are priming your profile, that it's very clear. So when I was selling fitness, I would say, I help people eat whatever they want without sabotaging results. And then I'd have a link to my website or my opt-in page or whatever it was. You need to make sure that's very clear what you're using your social media for. I use my social media for business, to make money. I'm not using it to, get friends and whatever else it is. Hopefully that makes sense, guys, and it's very crystal clear. If you want to make a lot of money in fitness, okay, if you want to build a massive offer, you have to market yourself differently. You have to present yourself differently. You have to price it differently. And then you need to make sure that your social media is primed to sell. You can make a lot of money as an online fitness trainer. You just can't do it if you're not willing to do those things. You can't sell it for $50. You can't just, try to grow a massive following. It's not going to work. My job, and especially as a consultant, is I try to show fitness professionals how to make a lot of money without those things, because anyone who has those things, obviously it's easier, right? If you had 1 million followers, how hard is it for me to teach you how to make money? I don't think it's that hard. But if you have no followers, how can I still help you make a lot of money? And that's really what this is about, okay? So take a 5 to 10 minute break, and then I'm going to come back and we'll start from there. See you guys in just a little bit. All right, guys, welcome back to the second part in this video series on how I built a multi-million-dollar fitness company in under 12 months. And I'm showing you every step of the process. Every video is going to be on YouTube, the scripts, the emails, the funnels, everything in between. It's all going to be there. When I was trying to start an online fitness company, I just had no idea what I was doing. I thought that people would only pay $50, $100. I would basically have to scrounge referrals or kind of do almost MLM style, which I really don't enjoy and I really don't like. And it was after I got into it that I realized that if I was just able to position myself properly, learn sales, learn marketing, raise my prices, that I can make tons of money as a trainer. It would just be in the online space where I'd create more leverage. And the funny part was there were a lot of trainers so much better than me, but they had no clue how to do sales and marketing. So they stayed poor. And then when you would make money, they would try to put you down by saying, oh, online sucks and this and that. But the thing is when you can actually help people and they get a genuine good service and you can make a lot of money, you don't have to feel guilty for it. That's on those people. And they have an issue with money that they have to figure out. That's not on you. So if you missed day one, go back and watch day one. Okay. Watching these videos in order is going to be paramount. If you just try to skip videos, they're not going to make any sense. Day one was all about how to create a perfect fitness offer, and specifically the offer I created that built me a multi-million-dollar fitness company. What we're going to do in this section is we're going to go through what it takes to do lead generation. Okay. what it takes to get a ton of leads into the fitness company, right? Because a lot of people, they don't have a big following, they don't have a big budget, so they don't know how this stuff works. And so we're going to break that down today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to dive right into this process. So as I said earlier, today we are going to focus on how only 40,000 fitness leads, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not, in just a year made me a multimillionaire. Okay. And to date, it's close to over $1 billion in client sales, because once I built this multi-million-dollar fitness company, I had people come from all over, specifically trainers to start, and then it progressed to outside of fitness. How did I do this? Like, how was I able to go from, a house of, 7 kids, teacher salary, mom stayed at home, and from scratch build this massive fitness empire that has now turned into elite CEOs, where I've done over $100 million in sales. Now, the math, just so you guys understand the breakdown, was I spent about $400,000 on ads. The cost per lead was about $10, so that's 40,000 leads. 10% of those leads booked a call, so that's about 4,000 sales calls. You close about 10, and keep in mind, not all those calls show up. Some cancel, some no-show, etc. Okay, so let's just say, let's be conservative here. So let's say 40% cancel, right? And then those were the calls I actually took. And you can take about 8 calls a day. You close 10% of those total calls, 400 deals closed. If you do 400 times 3,000, that's 1.2 million. And then if you add in the recurring revenue and the upgrades over time, that's easily over 2 million. And then that is where I became a multimillionaire. All right. And so I like to do things by the numbers because I'm a former engineer. I don't like to talk theory or, here's an example. I want to give you actual numbers. And by the book, if you can learn how to get these numbers, if you can learn how to generate ads, learn how to generate leads, learn how to do sales calls, messaging, follow-ups, processes, all that stuff, we're going to cover that today. You can make a lot of money and you can be a lot more successful than the average fitness trainer. Now, just to give you context, in case you missed the first day, this is me. I was an online fitness model, or shouldn't even say online fitness model. I was a fitness model. I got paid on some gigs I did for free. I was really trying to build my social media following. You can see I was absolutely massive and shredded, and I just took it extremely seriously. And all I really cared about was just lifting weights 24/7. I didn't have a job really, I was still in either high school or college, and I was playing football and sports. And so all I really had to do was just eat food and get jacked. And that's exactly what I did. And these are a lot of the pictures of me, just like in different, modeling shoots, or just, obviously taking pictures before a shoot, so on and so forth. This right here were some of the clients I actually got as I built my online fitness company. This year, years ago, you guys can see this IG, Tanner Chidester Fitness, doesn't even exist anymore. At the time, I was growing a lot of it with like shout outs and different marketing strategies, and we won't get into those today. But ultimately, I just want to make sure you guys could see that this was the past. This is what I did. This is actually real. I had clients that got great results, and this was all online, and they thanked me for it and absolutely changed their lives. And when I started this fitness company, it was around 2017. At the end of 2016, I was at my lowest point where I had about $88 in my checking account and wasn't doing very good, as you can see. And at the end of 2023, I've done over $100 million in sales. So let's just take a very aggressive estimate that out of $100 million in sales, I have a 30% profit margin, right? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but let's just assume, right? It's definitely a lot better than 10% because it's a service-based business. And then after taxes, so on and so forth, I have a multi 8-figure net worth. Okay. And so it's completely changed my life. It can change your life. That's why I do what I do. I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it feels like. I know what it's like to grow up in a teacher household. I'm not saying I had the worst life ever. I'm not saying that there's not other people out there worse than me, but I do know what it's like to push back through adversity. And to date, we've had over about 50,000 clients since that point, because once I had success, people started asking me for help. Now, out of that, probably 25,000 of them are fitness. We've had a ton of clients, a ton of customers. Once I started having a lot of success, people outside of fitness started asking me for help. But the whole reason I'm doing this video, the whole reason this came about was because I built something I was proud of for myself, and other people saw it and they wanted a piece of the action. And after, a time and a long waiting list, I said, why not? I said, why not show people what it is I did? Because at the time I didn't feel there was a lot of good information out there. Now, how did I generate these 40,000 leads? The main thing we're going to talk about today is something I call conversion conversations. And using this completely revolutionized my business, and is still the catalyst to this day for how I'm able to make so much revenue and generate so much cash. Now, what this is it's the process of having a one-to-one conversation with the lead that convinces them to buy when they otherwise wouldn't have. You have to keep in mind when you market and you're doing sales, everyone is getting pitched by someone else. And so it's not enough to just try to convince them that your stuff is better on the first try, or even the second try or the third try. It takes on average 7 to 10 times to get someone to buy. And that's what this methodology is centered around. Now, originally, I thought to get leads for organic, so getting leads for free, I would just post a link and people would click and I'd be rich. I'd see people like Steve Cook, Christian Guzman, Bradley Martin, Paige Hathaway. I remember at the time, Joey Swoll, Devin Physique. You might recognize some of those names. I thought that's what they did. I just thought they posted links and got rich. And I realized that really wasn't the case for most times. And for ads, I just thought you'd send them to a webinar or what they consider a perfect video, and that would be it. And it would just, work magically. And I realized that really wasn't the case either, because the one thing that is correct is you can only get leads through organic traffic or pay traffic, but how you get those leads to convert, I was completely off about. And it was basically like this, right? Like, this is how I thought it worked is, you post content, they magically buy, they watch your video and buy. And what I was really didn't realize is I was doing this, is I was praying and hoping, like most of you probably watching this video, that it would just magically work. And if you pray, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to get people off the edge, right? It's not enough to just cross your fingers, please, please, please work, please, please click on my stuff. That's not going to work. And so what we're going to talk about today is how Converged Conversations revolutionized what I did. Now, you might be thinking, but Tanner, why does that work for me? It works for blank, right? And you start putting Russell Brunson or Grant Cardone or, these big shot individuals. And it's really simple. 1 to 2 reasons. Either one, you're not a world-class marketer yet, and you're comparing yourself to a world-class marketer. They've been around longer, bigger brand, ran more ads, etc. Or 2, everyone else is already doing the same thing, so you don't stand out at all. Meaning that, it could work, but because you're doing exactly what, Joe and John and Jack and Jill are all doing, you don't stand out whatsoever. You look the same as everyone else. So how do you scale and beat others? Ultimately, it sounds simple. It's just hard to do, but you just do things that others aren't willing to do, which means you scale the unscalable. You scale the unscalable. You do the things that other people aren't willing to do. You sacrifice more than them. You put in more effort. You grind more. You work more. You sleep less. You do those things. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And so as I became successful, I realized if I just do things that most other companies don't do, it will make me stand out. Because really having a fitness offer isn't that unique. And there's always so many things you can do to make it unique. Wouldn't you agree? But the big thing was that I started doing things that made it scalable by doing what others would not. So again, going back to how clients, or I thought you got clients organically, or probably how you're doing it right now, is you post something on social media. Hey, I got a fitness offer. I'm a personal trainer. I know my stuff. I'm super smart. Click and buy my it's $50, whatever it is you're doing, that's not going to work. What I did is I would DM strangers. They would get on a 15-minute call. We would go to a sales call and then we would close it. Or I would close it. I don't know why I keep saying we. And I would close that. And what most people do to get clients with ads is something like this. They run an ads to an opt-in page. They'd have a webinar. And then if they don't watch the webinar, they send me an email that they probably don't open. 15 or 20% of people open emails. And then a call. And how I would try to run ads is I would have a massive follow-up system. And this is what I call the elite operating system. And it was extremely robust. Email, text, setters, DMs, Facebook group, 2-steps, live events, live training, the whole 9 yards to get these leads to come in and convert. So I want you to notice there's a ton of ways to follow up, but everything stems from being good at messaging and talking. There's a million ways you can follow up, but all these things, email, text, setters, DM, this is all messaging and communication. It's all talking. It's follow-up. This is what makes the big difference. I'm going to show you exactly how this breaks down. Now, there's 3 ways to get and convert leads into a buyer. You can do cold. You can have followers, likes, or comments on your social media, or you can do ads. And the goal is to move away from 1 as fast as possible and get to number 3. Keep in mind, most of you will have to start at 1. Because you're broke right now, or you don't have an online business, or you're still working a 9 to 5 and you're trying to transition over. I did the same thing. It's okay. That's normal. You're not supposed to have money right now, nor are you supposed to have skill. It's all good. You're not supposed to. But as we progress and scale the business, we want to get more into paid ads because we need more volume at a faster clip to create more revenue, to make more money, to drive more business. Now, the expectations you should have for leads is this. False expectations lead to misery. When people get upset in business, it's usually because their expectations are incorrect, right? They have false expectations for what they should expect and what should happen and how it should happen and so on and so forth. All right. Like that is that's exactly what will lead to misery. So with cold, on average, if you send out 100 messages to strangers, you'll get 15 to respond, 3 book a call, you close 1. If you don't hit those numbers, let's give you an example. If you send out 100 messages and 3 respond, you said something weird. If out of the 15 who respond, you only book 1 call or 0, you have a messaging issue here. And if you, out of the 3 calls, you can't close more than 1, you have a sales issue. You don't know how to sell high ticket online fitness. It's okay. You just don't know. This is the follower ratio and this is the ad ratio. What you're going to notice is as you move up the chain and they get closer to raising their hand, because remember, when you knock on someone's door, they're very cautious. When they're a neighbor, they're less cautious. And then when they knock on your door, they are the least cautious, which makes it easier because they have higher intent to buy. And that's what you're seeing here is with the amount of messaging, you're getting a higher response rate, which leads to booking more calls. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, as a side note, I want you guys to keep in mind as I scaled this fitness company, I went from $3,000 a month of ad spend to over $500,000 a month of ad spend in a single year. Okay. That's $6 million a year on ads. If you didn't know, some of you will go from 2K to 2.5 in a year. And then you go, oh, I can't grow anymore, Tanner. Most of you to grow and build a profitable online fitness company will have to get a couple of sales organically. You take a little of that cash, you put it into ads, and then you're able to grow the business from there. And if you go, well, I don't know how to do ads and I don't know how to message, I don't know how to sell, you need to learn. Success doesn't care what you want to do. It only cares what is required. So what you have to decide is, are you willing to do what's required, or do you just want to stay poor? Or do you not want to go online? Or do you just want to work for someone else? That's fine. There's no shame in that. But I think it's being okay with what you get out of life by what you're willing to put out. And you get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. It's that simple. Now, going from a cold DM to a 15-minute call would sound something like this, and it's going to go left to right, top to bottom. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll give you a little bit of insight. So when I would reach out for fitness, I'd say something to the effect, typically, keep in mind, this is a random person. We're going to give you all the scripts, all the examples on after these calls, right? They're going to be all linked below. You're going to have somewhere to get all this stuff. I just want to make sure, pay attention. You don't have to, be writing this down or recording it, so to speak. All this stuff will be given to you, but this is what it might sound like. So I would typically go on a hashtag on IG where I would find individuals who are into fitness, but also overweight. And I'd reach out and say, hey, typically mom, hey, hope this isn't weird to say, but just had to tell you how cute your kids are. I'm from a family of 7 and, I just love kids. And the way you think of what to say is, if you've never done this before, is what would you say to someone at a bar that you just met or you just met in public? And say it out loud before you send it in a DM. Because if it sounds weird in a DM, it's probably going to sound weird in public. So you don't want to say that. A lot of people have poor communication skills. So they might say, oh, not much. And that's not weird. It's like, great. So, by the way, do you work or do you stay at home? And, the reason I ask is, my mom stayed at home. There's just a lot of us. And they might say, well, I also work as well. Yeah. And I'm like, cool. What do you do? And they say, I am blank. I don't care what they would say. And I always give a compliment. So keep in mind, every time I'm doing this, I want you to know, so I'm acknowledging and responding, acknowledge and respond, acknowledge and respond. That's how you keep the conversations moving and flowing and move quickly. All right. So I would say, oh yeah, like Supermom, does it keep you busy? I can imagine. And they're like, yeah, it definitely does. It's pretty hard, raising kids and working. And then this was where I would shift into the sales pitch, because this question here was a pivotal point. They don't even notice it. So as soon as I say, does it keep you busy? Everyone would say yes. You could try this. It'll work every time. You will never have someone, when you say, does it keep you busy, that says, no, I'm lazy, or no, it doesn't. They always say yes. And then I would say, got it. So does that make it hard to work out or get to the gym? Because I can only imagine. And they would usually agree and be like, yeah, it does. And now I'm in what I call the pitch. So I go, God, well, what's the struggle with that? And what have you tried before? And have you ever had a coach? And they're responding over here, right? So just read as you go along. And then after they do that, I'm like, well, look, I do this fitness stuff all day long. I don't know if you care, but I'm down to give you some pointers if you're open to it. And they'd say, yeah, great. To which I would respond, cool. So instead of typing out 37,000 more messages, I can do a quick call. Is that cool? Yeah, great. Here's my number. What's yours? And I would get them to a call from there where I would then build rapport. And then I could go into the next phase, which is get them to a sales call. So when you're doing cold outreach, if you're looking for an actual process and you want to like screenshot this, again, you're going to have all the recordings, the videos, the trainings. Don't stress. I'm going to give you a script. It's going to look a lot better than this, by the way. Okay. Relate, ask what they do for work, ask what keeps them busy, what's their goal, struggle, what have they tried, have they ever had a coach who offer your free advice, pitch a quick call, give the number, and then you call immediately, right? If you're not able to call immediately, you send them a link, whether it's Calendly, Schedule Once, Elite 360, which is our software, I don't care. That's how you would do it, okay? And someone might read this and go, but Tanner, that's too easy. It's not always like that. And you'd be correct. When you go up to a girl and you ask her on a date, she doesn't always say yes. You're right. Or they might give you an objection. Correct. But you need to understand that conversations are like chess. And so you need to think about what question do I have to ask to get them to think the way I want them to think. Okay. We don't convince people by telling, we convince by asking with childlike curiosity. Think of religious fanatics or relationships or politics. Criticizing gets you nowhere. Asking gets you somewhere. So you always have to be curious. And keep in mind, this is ethical manipulation. Okay. Make no mistake, you're manipulating people with your words. So choose them wisely. It's ethical. Like sales is manipulation. You are getting someone to go from where they are and how they think to over here where you are. And the way you get people there is you ask questions. You don't tell them, you get them to come to their own conclusion themselves. Does that make sense? It's all about asking the right question and being curious. And the more you do that and the more they believe it's their idea, the better off it's going to be. Now, I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but this is a full-on conversation from a follower. So what you saw here was a hypothetical cold DM, right? It's a little harder for me to find. That's why I use this. But this is an actual DM with a follower, okay? And you can read it. This is actually how it went down. So you can even see the timestamp over here. This was 2017. So I'm not just bullshit. And it was like, what's up in your world? As you read through it, you're going to see me follow that structure. So I'm going to just stop for a second, pause the video if you need to, if you're watching this on YouTube, etc. So I also want you to notice it's a little easier because, again, this person was following me. So if you can get people to follow you, whether it's boosted posts, ads, IG shout outs, what have you, these conversations get a little easier. You don't have to do quite as much work. And then she booked a call. This is another individual, same exact thing. You can go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to keep rolling. If you're watching this live, you're going to have to get this on the YouTubes, but you can pause it and read it through. And this is the same type of thing. Someone who was following me got to a call, same thing. Someone else who was following me got to a call. This individual here actually paid me $5,000 a month for a year, paid me $60,000 to coach him, get him in shape. 60,000. No weird stuff. Didn't have to, do anything or like weird or, go somewhere or send him any, like it was just normal fitness training. And it all started from having a script, having a higher price, creating that offer, go back to day one if you missed that, and then having a proper lead generation process. And then once I had this cash, I started turning it into ads. And so I want you to notice how much more trust was built with a warm lead. A lot. I was able to get from beginning to end in about 5 steps. And the way you get rich, in case you didn't know, it's not about making $1 million in your life. It's about making $1 million in a year, in a month, in a day, in a week. You're taking the time frame of getting a result and you're moving it in a faster window. That's the goal. That's how you do it. Okay. And so you just do the same things in a faster time than someone else. That's how you get rich. Now, once that was done, or once you've done that, so you do cold DMs, you get a little cash, maybe do some boosted posts, maybe you do some IG shout outs, you reach out to your followers, and now we're going to really try to scale the business. Now we're going to go hyperbolic. This is where I was able to build a multi-million-dollar fitness company in under a year, where we start running ads in the ad manager. Now, again, I want you to go back. This was 2019. So I'm a year into this now. I'm running a lot of ads. They would click and they would get something fired to them with a training to the VSL. And then I would go in and start messaging. Again, you can pause this as we go. I'm having a full-on conversation with her. So just pause this as you need to, so you can see how this conversation plays out. As we're going through the conversation, again, you can see I'm trying to create struggles. I'm asking, what are you struggle with? What's your goal? What have you tried? Have you ever had a coach? Why not? Are you serious about getting help? All those types of things. And then I ask her to book a call, which she does. And then from there, I send her a video to watch before the call. It's called a homework video. So you can see here, right there. She gets on. I go back and I say, hey, I saw on your application, it didn't, your human resources, are you able to, invest if this is a fit? Because again, I don't want to get on a call with someone who's not a fit. These are all things and skills you need to learn: how to vet, how to hire, how to train, how to do leads. That's what this whole 6-part series is about. But today it's lead generation specifically. And then once I get her to commit to that, I set up the call and I take it. So now that you know how to do convergent conversations with cold, right? With cold DMs, with followers, with likes and comments and ads, now it's, what do I have to do to get my first sale? So Tanner, I've learned how to create my offer on day one. I've learned how to do lead generation. Now, how do I get my first actual sale? So this is how you do it. This is one of the ways you can do it. So this is called a 5 guys. All right. Now, if you're on social media, you're brand new, you just started, you have no idea how to get a client, you can go and use this and probably get your first 1 to 3 clients. I've had this happen with clients all the time. The way it works is you might say something, I'm looking for 5 people who want to blank in the next blank days without blank. Just fill it in. If that's you, comment ripped below and I'll see if you're a fit. Now, if you're worried people will think it's free, you do a PS and say, this is a paid program. It isn't free. That's optional. That's up to you. Typically, the 5 guys for fitness offer might say, I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose 20 pounds in the next 60 days without giving up donuts, right? That's an example. Or I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose 90 pounds in the next 6 months without rigorous diets and workout programs. It doesn't matter. It's just, you're trying to make it enticing enough for them to comment that you can reach out to them for information, which then, if you remember, if we go back, makes the conversation go very smoothly because now they're following you. Okay. So when a lot of coaches or consultants tell you don't have to cold DM people, all they're really saying is this, like, it's not really, this not a super, oh my gosh, what a crazy strategy. It's just getting people to raise their hand to give you permission to sell them. So that's one way. Once they comment, I would just reach out. Oh, excuse me. Once they comment, I might just reach out and say, hey, so I saw you comment on my post. Can you start by telling me what your goal is? And we'll see if it's a fit. Once they do that, now you're in the conversation. Now you can actually engage with them. This is how it might look. I don't suggest doing what you see on the right here. It doesn't work. What I do suggest is doing what you see on the left here, right? So I'm looking for 5 people who want to lose 20 pounds in the next 4 days without giving up donuts and chocolate. And the reason I put it in this type of background, whether it's IG or Facebook, is it pops more and it sticks out. If you write it like this, you're not going to get the same response. There's little things all across business, especially being an online fitness professional, that makes a massive difference in your results. Just like if you go to the gym 6 days a week, another person goes 2, the person who goes 6 will get better results. All right. Do yourself a favor and help yourself out. Do yourself a favor and help yourself out by making it easy for people to buy from you. The next way you can do it is what's called a boosted post. This is a 5 guys. This is a boosted post. If you go through step 1 through 5, this is how a boosted post works. So you'll post something. I was looking pretty jacked here, by the way, I thought. Boost it. And then you can choose profile visits or messages. I would recommend most of you start with profile visits. Profile visits are going to be a lot cheaper. Usually you're looking for about 10 to 20 cents, or excuse me, you're looking about 10 to 20 cents a profile visit. And then you're looking for, between $1 to $3 for a follow. You pick your audience. So when you pick an audience, you would pick people that are more likely to be overweight and want to get in shape and pay for your help. So think about, what do rich people who are overweight do? Maybe they own yachts. Maybe they buy Rolexes. Maybe they have a horse or a freaking dog, or maybe they go to the Kentucky Derby or whatever, right? Think of those things, and then you create your budget. This will get people who can see your stuff, so you don't have to have a massive following. And as long as you spend less than you make, you will be rich. It's not that complex to actually make a ton of money. People will try to overcomplicate it. I've become rich because I know how to spend less money than I make, and all the extra money I make, I get to keep. That's it. It's really not any more complex than that. This is another thing you can do. It's called a two-step. So far I've showed you 3 ways you get your first sale. 5 Guys, boosted post. And again, if you don't have money, start with the 5 Guys and the two-step. Boosted post is for people who have a little cash they can lose. Do not put cash into ads that you can't lose. This is like a casino. Do not gamble money you cannot afford to lose. You only gamble money you can afford to lose. This is a two-step, right? So this is an example of a two-step I did here. Now, I've done a million two-steps, but I showed this one because it was really good. And not all your two-steps have to be this good. But what I did is I took a little time and created a document from Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads. It has more shares and comments than this now. But if you guys look, it had 250 shares, 437 comments, and 274 likes. I can message all the likes, I can message all the comments, and all the shares. Do you think I'll make a couple sales from that? If your answer is anything other than a resounding yes, you are wrong and you're lying to yourself. This is how you can start making sales. It's easy if you are just willing to do the work. Even if you don't have the following I have now, that it took me 6 years to build, by the way, I didn't have this day one. You can do things just like this and drive results. Once they comment down below, this is actually the two-step script. We're going to give you this. Don't stress. We're going to give you this script after the trainings are going to be put out on YouTube. Like I said, the emails, the scripts, the ads, everything you need to be successful. This is going to be part of what you get. So what they would do is I'd reach out and say, hey, did you still want that training? Yes. We send it. And then I ask them if I can ask more questions and then see if we're able to help them. So it's a little bit of a softer pitch where it's like, hey, I have this free training. Who wants it? They raise their hand like, cool, by the way, do you mind if I ask you a couple other questions? And then you see if you can help them from there. A lot of people think that to become wealthy, everyone's just going to come to them. That's not how it works. You have to go attack. You have to be the lion, the hunter, so to speak. If you sit back and just hope everyone comes to you, it's not going to work. So that's the 5 Guys, boosted posts, and 2 steps. That can all be what you do right now. You can get off this call right now and go get your first step right now. You don't have to have stuff set up. You don't need a bunch of, apps and all these things. Give your first client an Excel spreadsheet with their exercises and their diet. Because a business can survive if it's making sales. It is not a business if it makes no money. You can have the best fulfillment in the world, but without making sales, you won't survive. Okay. So to summarize, if you're short on cash, start with cold DMs and make your first sale. Then take that cash and move to boosted posts. Once you can't do any more outreach without getting a spam block, because typically IG or Facebook will limit you to 20 to 30 messages per hour, right? Because they're trying to stop spam. That's what I mean by that. So be very careful. You cannot send on average more than 20 messages per hour. If you're sending 100 a day, it should take you about 5 hours. Then you move to ads. The cool thing with ads is once people are raising their hand, Facebook and IG will let you reach out as much as you want because they allowed it. If they don't allow it, they're not going to do it. Once you max out what you can do on your own, start hiring a team like I have. We're going to talk about it in another section. Sales is ethical manipulation. Ask the question that gets the response you want. If you want to go to Cheesecake Factory, you don't ask your wife, where she wants to go. You're like, hey, babe, what do you think about Cheesecake Factory? You're manipulating her to get the response you're looking for. Number 6, to get your first quick win, use a combo of 5 Guys, 2 steps, and boosted posts. As you see success, double down, do more of what's working. Don't go to another coach. Don't get on another YouTube video. Don't let someone else tell you to start doing something else. You guys, business is super simple. It's doing the boring stuff every day that works over and over and over again. And people are always looking for a new shiny object or strategy when that's not what they need to do. And then you rinse and repeat until you hit your desired income level. It's that simple. Hopefully that all makes sense for you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. What's going on, guys? Welcome to day 3 of the webinar series on how I went from 0 to $1 million in less than 12 months building my online fitness company. Now, if you haven't watched day 1 or 2, make sure to go back on YouTube and watch those days first. If you try to watch day 3 without watching the prior videos, it's going to be super confusing. And what I'm doing through this series is taking you through step by step on how I scaled a multi-7-figure online fitness company and then went on to build an 8-figure company overall and hit $100 million in sales. Throughout these webinars, we're going to be giving you the scripts, the templates, the emails, everything you need along the way, completely free that you can utilize to start growing and building your business. So without further ado, let's dive into today's training. Now, today we're going to be talking specifically about lead nurture. So if you missed day 1, that was all about how to create an online fitness offer that you could sell for millions of dollars. Day 2 was more about generating leads. And then day 3 is going to be about lead nurture. And so this specifically is going to be about how I nurtured over 40,000 plus fitness leads in a year that turned into over 4,000 plus high ticket clients. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to break it down for you by the numbers. Now, first and foremost, so people look at me now, they say, hey, he looks like he's in decent shape, but they've never seen me at my best. So these are all pictures when I was modeling, I was into fitness. You can see Daniel and Bailey on the top right. Obviously, you could tell I was super shredded. I was super in shape. And all I really did was lift weights. But the problem was I was super in shape and I looked good. I looked the part, but I wasn't making any money. And that was probably the most annoying and probably disappointing thing that I was figuring out about the fitness industry. Now, right here, here's a couple of the clients I worked with. I started this business back in 2017. These were some of my testimonials and people I worked with that got great results. And it was a really, fun time in my life and a lot of great things happened. Now, just for context, back in 2017, I had $88.20 in my bank account. You guys can see on the far left, I had my priorities in order. I was buying isogenic protein shakes and I was tanning. So that was mostly where my income was going. And now on the far right, you could see end of 2023, I've done over $100 million in sales. I'm very proud to say that. It wasn't easy. It took a ton of work. It still takes a ton of work. You can ask probably my friends and my family. They say I work too much, but it's been a journey and it's really helped me develop as an individual and a person. And then to date, we've helped over 50,000 clients because as I built this online fitness company and had a lot of success, people wanted my help, specifically started with trainers, then expanded. And we've helped a ton of people make a ton of money, close to over $1 billion in sales to date. Now, something that I want to point out here is lean nurture can be complex. And so a lot of people want to stay away from it, but unfortunately it's something that must be done. So this is an actual screenshot inside our software, Elite 360, on how complex it can be to actually follow up with a lead. And the reason you want to do this is, yes, there needs to be manual follow-up. You need to call leads, you need to text leads, you need to DM leads. But if you don't have back-end automation set up, the problem is that the leads will never get 7 to 9 touch points, which is the average amount it takes to get a lead to become a buyer. And so you have to keep in mind, not everyone is going to buy day one. People are paying attention and they will come through when they are ready. So ways you can nurture leads. Let's go through those. Emails, text, phone dialing, Facebook groups, social media content, setters. Could be live training similar to this one, YouTube's, voicemails, live events, retargeting ads, and free courses. There is a myriad of things you need to do to get leads to buy into you, to trust you, to know you, and want to purchase from you what you're specifically selling. Now, this right here is a screenshot specifically for online fitness trainers and professionals. Obviously, if you're watching this, this is for you. This is the series on how I built a multi-million-dollar online fitness company. This is a screenshot of emails and texts. And so what you can see here is that these arrows are pointing to text messages and emails that we send out at different points once the prospect comes through a submitted form that we do with running ads. Now, again, if you're not sure how to run ads or you're not sure how to build your offer in a way where you could sell it for $3,000 or more, that's actually how I scaled and built my company. You want to go back to days 1 and 2 on YouTube where we break that all down, or I guess I should say I break that all down. This is going to be confusing if you haven't gone through those first 2 days. Once you've gone through those first 2 days, this lead nurturing process is going to make a whole lot more sense. Now, what most people will ask me is, hey, Tanner, what's an ideal first day, 7-day sequence? What that means is once someone comes into your ecosystem, they've given you their email or phone number, you want to have at least 7 to 10 days of emails and text messages that go out so that that individual has a chance to continue to buy. Because you have to remember, not every single person wants to buy day one. Some people might want to keep looking or build more trust or look at your emails. And so it's important that you're nurturing them along the entire process, pushing them back to book a call or to buy the service that you're selling, in this case, online fitness coaching. The next thing up is what we call phone burner. Now, phone burner is a dialing system. It's not necessary that you use this. It's one of many things. Think of a dialing system the same way as you would a car. You have Lamborghini, Mazda, Lexus, etc. They all have 4 wheels and an engine. It's just some cost a little bit more than others, pretty much because some person decided that they should, not really because they do anything different. So this here is just an inside look at when leads come in. You can actually see on the far right here when the leads come in, how many times we call them, their email, their phone number, where they're from. And we have a dialing team that goes through and tries to get these leads to convert into sales. This is an example of what it may look like. So obviously I'm Tanner Chidester, so you don't have to worry about this, but you put their name in. Down here, you can add notes. Right here, you can send an SMS or a text. You can see their last activity. You can see the dial button. And then this down here at the bottom is what we call dispositions. Dispositions was and is a fancy word for clicking a button. Okay, so meaning that if I click this button, it means they picked up. If I pick this button, it means that we didn't get a hold of them, we send an email. This is a different email. This is a book sales call. That is to dial a second number, meaning that some people, when you get their info, they will have two numbers on file, or that will get the next contact in the rotation queued up. And the point of this is to call really quickly, right? So if you can imagine, here's my cell phone. Hopefully you guys can see it. If I'm typing in numbers manually, versus I have them in an automated dialing system, it's going to take much longer to get through those leads than if it just dials consistently and constantly. And then if someone doesn't pick up, it just puts the next number in the queue. So that's the point of that. Now, what I'm showing you right here is our actual dialing script. A lot of people really overthink sales. They think you have to say something snazzy or off the cuff. But just so you're aware of how this works, when someone gives you their information, they're raising their hand that they're interested, which means you don't have to really say anything that complex. So to give you an example, let's say your name was Sam. I might call you and say, hey, Sam, this is Tanner with Elite CEOs. How's everything going? Most people are going to say, like, who? Or they're going to say, oh, like, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, great. I was calling about the online training. You can follow along at the top that you downloaded from Tanner and Elite CEOs. In this case, it could be whatever your fitness company is called. It could be, mine was called Fit Warrior at the time. I thought that was, really slick, which probably wasn't. But whatever your fitness company is called, you can say that. And then you would say, hey, are you trying to still get in shape? I saw you downloaded one of my trainings on losing 20 pounds while still being able to eat donuts. Do you still need that? And they're usually like, yeah. You're like, great. If you're cool with it, can I just ask you a couple of questions? And then based on that, I can give you the appropriate help, or based on that, I can give you the right train, or based on that, I can see if we're fit to work together. You're like, yeah, this right here is just what I would send if they don't pick up. So I gave that to my sales team. So, hey, if they don't pick up, send this text. If they don't pick up, again, send that text. It's just copy and paste. Again, it's just SOPs to make sure that the business runs efficiently. It's nothing really more complex than that. It's just making sure that the business runs really efficiently. Then below that, we have resources. These are different resources you can go to see how these things work. All right. Again, these are like PDF overviews and different links for trainings for my sales team. Now, once they start getting into the questions, they would start saying, hey, so, what do you do for work? Right. Or in this case, let's pretend this is fitness. Sorry. I apologize, guys. We only have one script at this point, but what you would do in terms of fitness is you might say, yes, what is your, fitness goal? How much weight do you want to lose? They're like, 20 pounds. You're like, great. And what are you struggling with the most right now? I've tried a bunch of different things that hasn't worked. Cool. What have you tried? Well, I've tried this. Okay. Have you ever had a coach? What would make a perfect program for you? Okay. You get that context and you say, cool. So if you had a step-by-step, blueprint on how to lose weight without doing this and able to get results in this amount of time, would that be, worth it to you? Well, yeah. And then what I do after that is I go, awesome. So, based on that, I think I could help you. But what we need to do next is, again, the whole point of calling is we're trying to set sales calls, right? So the cool thing about when you call leads is that it's a win-win. If you call leads and they can't afford your service or they don't have money to buy it, you can leave them a free training. So they're like, wow, Tanner's a great guy. He called me. Nice. If they do have money, you can schedule a sales call, which is the whole reason you called in the first place. So usually once they tell me this, I'll say, well, look, just so I have an idea of what I can send you, what's your financial resources look like? Meaning, like, for example, if I'm selling fitness, I'd say, look, like, obviously I have high one-to-one type trainings, and then we also have free stuff, but obviously the free stuff is not usually as effective as that. So I'm trying to get an idea of what's your budget to invest in your health, if at all. And if you could, 1 to 10, 1 is 1,000, 10 is 10,000, how much money do you have to invest? Or you can ask what their job is, right? So earlier in the frame, if you look up here where my mouse is, you could say, hey, what do you do for work? If they say they're a teacher, I'm going to say, oh, awesome. My dad was a teacher. I'm one of 7 kids, which is true. And I say, but I do know, with that being said, really appreciate, your service, but my dad really never had a ton of money. And so do you have finances set aside for your health, or where's your head on that? Again, we need 2 things for people to buy: certainty and money. So as we're going through our setter script, right, as we're calling these leads, you're going to have access to all this. Don't worry. As we're calling these leads, we need to really make sure and know that, well, do they have finances? And so the way I would do that typically is they'll tell me, I'll say, cool. So scale 1 to 10, where are you at? And then based on that, I'll say, awesome. Look, so I definitely have a training that's going to help, but it's usually not going to be the magical bullet that's going to get you to your goal. So, we have clients that have lost, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds in the last 6 months doing XYZ. So independent if you want to be a client or not, I could get you on another call where we could walk you through that process. And then worst case, we just give you another free trainer, or best case, you may end up working with us and kind of get closer to your goals. Does that sound good? And then you would schedule the call. And then below this, you can see that this is the link I gave my setters or messengers, whatever you want to call them, the link to book a call, and obviously homework videos. Okay. So hopefully that's pretty clear for you guys. That's pretty much it. That is a script on that part. So hopefully that was clear. The next way you can nurture leads is a free group. Now, our free group's constantly growing. Something that we do is we only allow people in that we think will buy or that are good looks to work in our program, or our consultants or coaches, et cetera, trainers, those types of things. Inside the portal, you can have free trainings right here. We actually updated these recently. And then you can do posts, nurture. Again, this is just another touch point. It's not that we make tons of sales from our group per se, but it is another touch point for us to get clients. In terms of what you could post in the group, this is typically the schedule I follow. Again, there's not one way to kill a cat. I just want to give you guys as many ways as possible to get the leads that you're getting to become clients. Now, something I also want to keep in mind, don't try to do everything at once. If you're a beginner means you're making, let's say, less than 100,000 a month, which is going to be most of the people on this call. Don't try to do everything at once. Don't try to do a Facebook group and emails and texts and calling. Focus on what's going to move the needle the farthest. As your team gets bigger and you start outsourcing, right, you start hiring staff, then you can move to bigger things, right? And that's what kind of makes it fun. So for Monday, I do motivational Mondays. Tuesday is a live training of some kind typically. Wednesday is a 2-step post. Thursday is an informative post. Friday is a live training. Saturday is educational. And then Sunday I'll do offer. We'll do another testimonial. Okay. In terms of social media, I don't try to pretend I'm the world's best social media expert. In fact, probably some people would say I'm not that good at all. And I probably actually agree with that. I have not really focused on social media over the years because I've been a big paid ads guy. If you can focus and get a great social media, it's great because you're going to make a lot of money with hardly any expenses. And that is a massive benefit to doing that. It really is. It really makes it a lot easier to scale. It makes it easier in hard times because, again, you're not having to run ads to get new leads. But something that I am good at is I post across the board. And so for fitness, for example, if you're trying to get more clients, you want to post around the objections. So fad diets, bad workout programs, expensive trainers, yo-yo dieting, lack of results after years. That's the type of stuff you want to post about. Now, I don't have that type of posting anymore because unfortunately, I don't know why I did this, but when I had my fitness accounts, I deleted them or I transferred them over, which, in hindsight was really stupid because I can't really teach. But what I do is I'm consistently posting about objections. So for me, when I'm doing elite SEO types content, I'm posting about sales and marketing and content and ads and objection handling, hiring, firing, messaging, because those are the types of things that attract the people who want to buy my content, who want to buy my programs, and those are people trying to make us money. Also, keep in mind, we are trying to be business owners. We're trying to make money. We're not trying to be content creators. It's two different things. If you want to be a content creator, it is a full-time job. I already spend probably 40 hours a month on content, and I'm not even a content creator, and that's at scale, right? So when you're in the beginning, I don't want you spending tons of time on content, but it is another touch point to nurture your leads. This is an example of a content calendar on this page. There's a million different softwares you can use. This is just one of the inside looks of what we have our social media manager use. And the reason we do that is it's easy for her to post and she's able to keep a good eye on things. This right here is inside our team Slack channel where we have a bunch of setters. Setters are really important because they can send DMs, call, so on and so forth, really work the leads. A lot of people don't make money because they underestimate how hard and how much they're going to have to message and work leads to get them to make a buying decision. A lot of people think they send one message or two, maybe one follow-up. It needs to be a huge amount of follow-ups. In fact, I'm going to have a couple of videos that are posted on YouTube in the next, I'd say, month that I think will blow your mind on how much I actually follow up with people and how aggressive I actually am. Now, in terms of messenger logistics, if you're trying to build a setter or messaging team, whatever you call it. It just, when I say setter, it's usually dialing, so calling leads on the phone. Messaging is just how it sounds, doing DMs. I'll usually pay between 12 to 15 an hour for B2C offers. So that's, $3,000 or less, right? So that's specifically for a lot of people on here or fitness. If you want a higher level person, you got to pay more. So just keep that in mind, that there has to be margin in your business, but as you pay more, the quality of the setter goes up. And so you just have to be really realistic with that. I would not go below $12 for a fitness offer. Next thing is we usually have 2 shifts a day. So we'll have 2 6-hour shifts, max 8. And the reason is depending on the amount of leads, right? So if you don't have a ton of leads, one person can do it. But if you have constant influx of leads, you're going to want usually 2 shifts a day, because after X amount of hours, people's brains, they just start to, kind of fatigue out. You can also do night shifts if you trust the overnight person. The issue typically is that person, they don't have a lot of oversight. And we've typically seen people who come in and they're good for a few weeks and then they start dropping off. So you got to really be on top of that and make sure they're doing a good job. Finally, bonuses will be anywhere between $25 to $300, depending on the level of difficulty or the size of the deal. We usually will have a KPI of 0.5 apps per hour for warm leads. Warm leads would be ads, okay? So they're coming directly from a paid ad into a DM of something in that nature. If it is a cold lead, it's going to be 0.1 to 0.2 apps. So just so everyone's clear, 0.5 apps per hour would be 1 app for 2 hours of work. 0.1 would be 1 app for 10 hours of work. It's a lot harder. So you got to make sure that you have proper expectations, because I see a lot of CEOs go in, have completely irrelevant, wrong expectations, and it makes it really difficult for them to scale because they don't really understand what the numbers should look like, okay? Next thing is you want to incentivize them to set good leads. So what we do is we will only give them bonuses on closes. Now, some people think that's unfair because they go, oh, well, it's not, that's not really in my control. It is what it is. Like, you can't give people bonuses for setting calls, because just because they set a call, if it doesn't close, it may not have been a good lead. Now, they can also make the argument that your closer's not good, but it is what it is. I wouldn't recommend giving bonuses that are not closes. We also will have a question in the script where the setters claim the lead. This is needed for a team. What I mean by that is, if you have shifts and people are moving in and out, you want to make sure that whoever gets the bonus can claim the lead, right? And so what that means is that if, Tanner's working 8 to 2 and then he hops off and he did most of the work, he should get credit for pushing that lead through versus the other person. You can do whatever type of system you want as well. You could have it where, one person gets half of it and the person who finishes pushing the app through gets the other half. It doesn't really matter. It's just you want to incentivize your team towards the behaviors you want. And then the final thing is just, make sure their team works together. You don't want a bunch of, solo people out there just being super greedy and not trying to work as a team. Next thing is live training. Nothing crazy. You can put this in your paid groups. It's a very flattering picture of me. I know. Let me know down in the comment section, scale 1 to 10. How good do I look there? And you can also do this in your free group. All right. So those are live trainings. These are voicemails. So whenever someone actually signs up for our Elite 360 software, which you guys are going to see inside this curriculum, they will actually get that, right? It's super cool. It actually will have their name. We love it. And yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot more personable. Plus we can do voicemails, right? So these voicemails we can actually personalize so that they go out to each and every customer without actually having to do it every single time. We also do live events. We do a lot of client events. Some are small, some are big. The goal is that we bring in paid clients who have paid us a lot of money, try to make a good experience for them. And by making it a good experience, they are more likely to stay on as clients and continue paying us. That's kind of the goal there. This here is retargeting ads. On day 2, I went through more of how to set up ads, but all I wanted to show here is that by simply setting up cheap retargeting ads, you can constantly go through and actually retarget traffic that has come to your site. You guys can also see down here that we've spent just in this account about 2.5 million. And I don't even know when I took this screenshot. I don't know if it shows up here. It doesn't, but we have a lot of different ad accounts. We've spent a lot of money on ads. And I'm telling you that one of the biggest ROI factors for us is constantly running retargeting ads. Next is free courses, right? We love running free courses. This is going to be a free course. If you're watching this video, you probably at this point are inside the free course. Why do I do this? No like and trust factor. Get you to know me, get you to trust me, get you to like me, and then hopefully you will see value in what we do here and want to work with us further. Maybe you don't, but at the very least, this is not going to be a net minus for me. It's going to be a very big net positive. And then finally putting it all together, this looks a little complex, but this is how it's going to work on a grand scale. So for example, you will have your social media content, which pushes to ads, and then your ads are retargeting back to your social media content. You'll send a DM. Once they come in from a DM, you can get their info for email, text. You can push to a Facebook group. You could call. You could get voicemails, retargeting. You can also push to a VSL. From your DM, you could also try to push to a call. These live events and courses and trainings are also pushing back to a call. And then all this here, you can also push to that. So the goal is that you're creating this ecosystem where you're constantly pushing to calls, sending trainings, giving advice. Here's a video. Here's a DM. It's this huge ecosystem where you're just constantly trying to engage and nurture your leads, and it never stops. It never ends. The better this system is, the better you are at sales and messaging and marketing, all the skills that are involved with this, the better you're going to do. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. If you're seeing this and you have questions on this video, drop your questions down in the comments section below. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, guys, welcome back to day 4 in the webinar series on how I went from 0 to 7 figures in just 12 months building an online fitness company, and then went on to build an 8-figure empire and do over $100 million in sales. So all we're doing today is breaking down exactly how that sales process works for fitness professionals, how I was able to sell $3,000, $4,000, even $5,000 packages online, make way more money online than I ever could in the gym. What we're going to focus on today is specifically how I closed over 70% of my fitness deals on the way to becoming a multimillionaire and building my fitness empire. I would close a lot of deals. When I say 70%, that's not an exaggeration. You'll see why when I show you how to beat objections. But I was able to get over 70% of the deals close that would get on the phone with me. Now, as a reminder, if you haven't seen previous videos, this is me when I was a fitness model. Super jacked, super shredded, loved it. It was my entire life. All I wanted to do was, be Steve Cook and Christian Guzman and Bradley Martin. And that's what I thought I was destined for until I realized there wasn't a lot of money in the actual modeling. It was more money in the actual business models. And these are some of the first clients I ever worked with online. You can see at top left, the guy lost, almost 70, 80 pounds. Some of the other clients got great results, and it was really rewarding. It was really rewarding to get people crazy results, get paid a lot of money. And I enjoyed doing it. On the left here, you can see back in 2016, right before I started my business in 2017, I had $88.20 in my Chase college account. Not too proud of that. It was a really low moment in my life to today, the end of 2023, over $100 million in sales. And, when people ask me how I did it, a lot of grit, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. I paid numerous coaches, took numerous courses, and now I've really dialed it in and narrowed it down into these, 6 videos that I'm making for you on how you can do it. To date, we've had about 50,000 clients, and it's been an amazing journey. Now, diving in today, what is sales, right? In short, to me, the goal of a sales call is to identify a prospect's current situation, what their desired destination is, and then show them the way to get there. It's not our job to make the sale, meaning it's not our job to force them to do something that they don't actually want to do. Sales will come as we do our best to serve others. The more we sound like we don't care what the outcome is, the better we'll do. This gets easier as you become wealthier. If I got on a sales call with you now, you would be able to tell I don't care because I don't need your money. That took a lot of time to get there, though. My brain was not there until I had quite a bit of money in the bank, a lot of investments. It took time. But once it was there, it's a lot easier for me to close and be better because I'm not tied to the outcome. Now, to get a set call, right, in the previous video, I've actually already shown you guys this, right? So you guys can see I have in parentheses, show a live call, show a set call. Typically, it's going to be 1,000 dials, 100 to 200 pickups, 10 to 20 sets, and 1 to 2 closes. That's what you can expect from a setter. And then the goal is you try to call them, 10 times in a week or 3 times the first day. Now, I've already shown this previously, so if you need to go back in the video, feel free. We'll also give you the scripts and templates here. But that is what I'm expecting for a set call. This is the first part of the sale. So as they come through your funnel, they opt in, they give you their information. These are the numbers you should look for. The reason I like sharing these numbers is it's really frustrating as a CEO and business owner to try to scale a company, but not know what the numbers actually should be. And so what I'm trying to do here is make sure that you actually know what the numbers should be so that you don't get depressed or, devastated or discouraged when these are the numbers. These are what the numbers should look like. Now, after they book, I want to show you the process they go through. We've already given you, the templates and the scripts and so forth, but I want to show you the actual process they go to. So let me back out of this really quick. And I'm going to go to our main website. This is elitesalesreviews.com, and I'll click schedule now. And please, guys, do not do this. This will drive me absolutely nuts, but I'll show you for the sake of this video. Whatever, put a number, test@mail.com. Okay. So then you come through, you would fill this out. Okay. Say you're doing 100K a month. Okay, could start ASAP. Boom. And then what will happen is they will get a chance to book a call. So what I'll do here is I'm going to book far out so my team has time to cancel. We'll go like this. Usually we only allow 2 days out. Test. And I'm doing this so you guys could see what happened. Okay, so give them permission. Boom. All right, so we'll book a call. Give it a sec. And then they will get this page. And on this page, we will have a main thank you video. We'll have a link to the group. And then we will also have a video down here. Now, this video needs to get updated, obviously, because it says 70 million instead of 100 million, but it's good enough. And then these are our biggest objections. And the reason we send this is so that they will be ready for the call. After that, we will send an automated email and text that will say, hey, please check out the homework videos and so on and so forth before the call. These will be inside the portal. Don't worry about it. When you're watching the trainings, the video that this coincides with will have this inside the portal. But I just want to show you guys really quickly what that process looks like. Once we get through that process and we've sent them the DMs and the texts and the emails, which those are the same thing. All it is, hey, you're all good for the call. Make sure to check these videos out. By the way, here's some of our reviews and Trustpilot. And then those people are able to go and get that information. So when they're on the call, they're ready to go. Now there's really 7 points of the close. Now we're going to move into the actual sales call portion. There's 7 points. You have the intro and pre-frame. You have discovery and questions. You have summary, 3 pillars, the brief overview. Make sure that you create as close to 100% certainty as possible. And then the close and objection handling. Now, keep in mind, this is for trainers, okay? So over the years, I've redone this script a million times, basically to the point where it was unrecognizable even when I was in my fitness days. But the cool part is when you understand these components, it works for any offer. So typically you're going to have 1 of 2 ways to an intro or pre-frame. You guys can read through this. Now, if you're newer to sales, you're just new to online fitness training, you're nervous, you haven't done this before, I highly recommend doing a harsher pre-frame, which is usually up here for beginners. So they come on the call and you might say, hey, my name's John, or hey, John, this is Tanner. How you doing? Great. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from. They start opening it up. And then I'll move into the call. I'll say, great. So John, today I'm super excited that we can connect. I know we have a limited amount of time, so I'm ready to jump in if you are. And first, I really want to understand what you're looking for, your struggles, what you tried. At the end, if you feel like it's a fit, my goal is to walk you through how it can help. All I ask by the end is you either give me a yes or no decision. Yes, meaning you're ready to sign up. We can get you moving, payment process. No means you don't think it's a fit. Either way is cool. I just want to make sure we stay away from I need to think about it, because that just usually means I did a terrible job of explaining and we shouldn't work together. And or you just don't want to hurt my feelings. Tonality and how you say this needs to come off that you don't care. You're just trying to get your point across. And then I'll say, as long as that's comfortable, let's go ahead and dive in. That helps you, because if you're not good at sales, you're brand new. When they get to the end, if they say no, it's easier to come back and say, well, in the beginning, you said you could give me an answer. So can you do that? Keep in mind, these are people trying to lose weight, build muscle. They're not used to being on sales calls. So a lot of sales trainers will tell you not to do this, which typically I might agree with for more advanced prospects, but these prospects are not advanced, which means you can get away with a lot of this. Okay. That's just to help someone who's a beginner. If you're more of a veteran, you can just say, hey, I'm just going to figure out if we can help you. And let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to help you make a good decision. Ready? That's what I do at this point, just because I don't need that pre-frame to get them to make a decision. But if you're not good at sales and you're not sure what to do, this can be a great start. So that's the intro or pre-frame. The discovery is going to be types of questions that are going to help you understand where they're at. So for example, what would you say to your goals are with health and wellness? What is making you want to blank, lose weight, build muscle? What's been the biggest challenge for you? What have you tried on your own so far to figure this out? How long have you been working at this? Have you ever had a coach? Do you have support? I'm curious why you reached out to us specifically. Keep in mind that there isn't certain questions you should ask. You're going to ask similar questions because that's the type of information you need to get people who will actually buy your service. But what I don't want you to get in the rut of is thinking that I have to ask these questions. If I don't ask these questions, I can't close. Discovery is just how it sounds. If I'm trying to help someone lose weight and I wasn't getting paid for it and I was their friend, what would I say? And you would probably ask, what have you tried? How much weight are you trying to lose? What's your goal? What are you struggling with? Have you ever had a coach? Did you pay for it? Did it work? Did it not work? Because again, you're trying to give them advice, and I can't give someone advice. I can't be a doctor until I know what's going on. So I just want to make sure I point that part out to you guys. Once you get all the questions you need, which typically for me, I'm going to say, what's your goal? What are you struggling with? What have you tried? Have you ever had a coach? Was it good or bad? What's a perfect program look like for you? Are you willing to invest if you feel it's a fit? Those types of questions, really understand what they've done and where they're trying to go. Then I might summarize and say, hey, so, it sounds like the biggest thing for you is this and this. And so if we can figure that out in a way you're 100% confident we can deliver that, would you move forward? Right. And they'll say, oh, I don't know. And you say, well, 100% confidence. And we're going to break down a live sales call after, guys. So don't leave. This is going to have an actual live sales call that I got a $3,200 paid in full. It's about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But that's the funny part is if I could do it 4 or 5 years ago, you could definitely do it today. And I still have clients closing at this clip. Okay. And then you have what I call the 3 pillars, right? So for B2C is just business to consumer, right? Which is what a fitness software is. The pillars that work the best for me are these 3: how to eat whatever you want, how to train however you want, and lifestyle recalibration. Okay. Now you can make these pillars whatever you want. What I want you to understand about the pillars is the pillars are the top 3 reasons someone should work with you. So I want to explain this in a way that makes sense. First and foremost, every person I ever worked with wanted to just eat bad food and have a 6-pack and not go to the gym. But obviously we know as trainers and fitness professionals, that's not the case. That's not realistic. So what I did is I said, how can I give them what they want while still being ethical and doing it in a way that's sustainable? So when I said how to train however you want and eat whatever you want, my theory and philosophy, so the trainers and fitness professionals watching this can understand, is one is nutrition's 90% of results. So I would get them to do if it fits your macros or calorie counting, right? Everyone knows that if you eat 8 Snickers bars, you won't feel that good. But if you stay in a caloric deficit, you'll lose weight. Now, I told them on calls, and you guys will hear this, I don't say, oh, yeah, it's so healthy, you should definitely do it. But what I do is I say, if that's what you want to do, there's a way to eat cake and beer and ice cream and all those things, because Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, all those things are going to come up. You can't be on a restrictive diet, because as soon as you go off, you're going to gain that weight back. We have to figure out a way to eat bad food and still look amazing. Would you agree? They're like, yes. And what I would do is give them examples. So keep in mind, as I'm looking at these pillars, I'd say, here's what they do, the bad guys. Most trainers will tell you to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. Now that works, but the reason you can't stick with it is because it's too restrictive, right? Because on Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, your birthday, you're going to eat bad food, right? So what I do is I'm going to teach you how to eat whatever you want, as long as you stay within certain guidelines and parameters. And as long as you do that, you'll still stay in shape. Does that make sense? And I'll give them, those examples of holidays where everyone eats bad food. So I didn't lie to them. I didn't make something up. I told them the truth. I just didn't show them how yet. And the reason is because I want them to buy my service. You don't have to explain everything. That's the thing. This is sales. This is not, we're not, a customer support team. We're trying to sell them on our idea. Number 2 is then I would tell them you can train however you want. So again, you can make these whatever you want. I want to show you what I did to build a multi-million-dollar fitness company. That's what this training is about. So I'd say, well, look, what most people do is they bring you in the gym, do lots of cardio, lots of lifting. You can't stick with it. You get you get results, you get maximum results to start. I can't talk. And then what happens from there is you fall off because it's too rigorous, right? P90X, Insanity, they're built for 30-day transformations, not for lifetime transformations. So what I do is I teach you how to train however you want, because if you could do 1 day a week for the rest of your life, that's better than 6 days a week for 3 months. Does that make sense? Yes. Great. So again, what I'm going to do is focus on you doing it the way you want, so it's sustainable. Because again, nutrition is 90% of your results. Even if you don't work out, but you follow the food, you're still going to look better than 99.9% of people. Cool? Yes. So now they're sold on my 2 ideas of training the way they want, eating the way they want. And that sounds better than everything they've done to that point. So then when I move into 3, what I call lifestyle recalibration, what I do is I say, well, look, here's your options, right? So now that you know what you need to do, the goal is like, how do you figure out how to do it? Who do you pay? So you have a couple options. First option is you could hire in-person trainer. And guys, stick with me, because I was an in-person trainer. I was a fitness professional. But when you're selling, you have to create a bad guy and a good guy, because most people, if you just tell them, hey, you're going to get a custom nutrition plan and a custom diet, they're not going to give you $3,000. They're going to give you $50. And so we have to make sure that when we're selling our online nutrition plans and programs and training, that we make them know that we are better than all the other trainers. Being rich and helping people in online fitness isn't necessarily about being the best trainer. It's about selling the best. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's just the truth. You don't have to be the best trainer to make tons of money. It helps. I think you should be a good trainer, but it really needs to be you sell it properly. So what I would do on number 3 is I'd say, look, first thing is you could hire an in-person trainer. Now, in-person trainer, yeah, they work out with you every day, but that's only 10% of your results. Not only that, but if you start working with them, they don't get paid. So why would you want to spend all your time and money getting 10% of the results with a person who's not incentivized to teach you anything? Because if they do, they don't get paid anymore. They're like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Again, I'm not against in-person trainers. I want you guys to hear me out. Like, this is sales. This is how it works. You have to create an enemy. Number 2 is I say you could get Beachbody or P90X. Now, the benefit is cheap. We love cheap stuff, right? I like cheap stuff. But the problem is they give the same program to the 300-pound man as a 200-pound woman. So do you think that those two people should be doing the same workout plans? No. So why are they? Because they're just trying to get 30-day transformations. They're trying to cut weight as fast as they can so they can show a cool result. So they cut calories, lots of cardio, you move a lot, you lose a lot of weight, right? But the issue is you can't stick with it. So you gain all the weight back and then you rinse and repeat that cycle. So that's the second issue. So number 3 is you can work with me. Not only will I show you how to eat and train the way you want, this is the key point, listen to this, but I'd say, but I'll teach you how to do it so you'll never have to pay for help the rest of your life again if you don't want to. Now, I do have clients who re-sign with me, but it's not because they want to, or excuse me, because they need to, it's because they want to. And so what I've done is I've created myself as the authority. I've proven that I can charge a higher price because I'm going to get them a result they've never gotten before. And that is how you sell high ticket online fitness coaching. Now, there's a million different ways you could do it. You could have different pillars, but I want to be very clear with you that at the end of the day, if you sell it in this fashion, it works. And this is what worked for me. You could sell it however you want, but this is what got me to become a multimillionaire in the fitness industry. It was just being really good at sales and really being able to advertise in a unique way. Now, once you do that, you go into what we call the brief overview. Now, the brief overview is just very brief, like as it suggests, on what they're going to receive. So what they're going to get in the program. So all I would say is I keep it very short, say, cool. So once you come on, you're going to get a train app. It's going to have your custom nutrition and diet in there. Workout plan. You're going to have one-to-one communication with me via text. You're going to get group calls. You're going to be a private Facebook community. I'll get you a grocery list. And, any other extra things you need, I'll be there every step of the way, one-to-one, right? It would be that simple. People don't buy because of features and benefits. They buy because of the result. So you don't need to go into crazy depth and detail to get people to buy. That's not the goal. You just need to tell them how this thing's going to work. Once I gave the overview, I'd create certainty. So again, we have 2 frames. We have the expert up here and we have the beginner. I'm not going to read this all the way through. Go ahead if you want, pause this video. If you're watching it, pause it and read through it. Okay. Again, if you're a beginner, I suggest that because it gives you an easier frame to close when they say no. You will get people at the end of the call who are going to tell you no. The goal is that you can beat that objection. If you're an expert, you just keep it simple. An expert meaning maybe you're even talking to someone more experienced. So if you got on a sales call with me and you tried to do the beginner frame, I would laugh at you because I would know what you're doing. But if it's someone who's trying to lose weight or build muscle, they probably haven't been on a lot of sales calls like this. So it probably works really well. Okay, so again, you guys can just pause your screen and then we're going to go ahead and move along with the video. The last part is just closing. Now, if you didn't see day 1, we went over how to price your offer. So in this video, this should be one long video. I told my team that's what I want to test this out, like a 3 to 4 hour video. Go back to earlier, and that's going to be day 1 in the offer, very first part of the video. It's going to show you how to price the offer out. That's super, super important, okay? What I say for fitness is it's just $3K for 4 months. Now, keep in mind, I've sold fitness packages between $1,500 all the way to $7,000 or $8,000. Okay, I had a client who paid me $5,000 a month at one point. Just so you guys know, it was a $60,000 client. Completely changed my life, by the way. Still friends with them to this day. You got to keep this stupid simple. Whatever price you're going to say, just be confident in the price. Don't go and say, oh, this and that. Just say, hey, it's this much for 4 months. Super simple. Okay. Now, from here, they're going to probably say no. Now, 80% of the time, there's going to be a price objection. I'd say 10% is a spouse, and then 10% is belief. Timer thing about it's very rare. We're going to go through it. So, and you're going to hear this on the sales call too as well. So let's say that I close at $3,000. All right. So the way this would sound, and watch my mouse, is I'd say, hey, so John, the price of the program is $3,000 for 4 months. And he says, Tanner, that's too much. I say, John, totally get it. Make sure you're watching my mouse so this won't make sense. John, totally get it. I agree. let me ask you this. Is there anything else besides price that would stop you from moving forward today? And he goes, no, Tanner, it's just price. I go, got it. So if we're able to figure out price, you're willing to move forward? He says, yes, that's a double tie down. A tie down means that you've pushed them in a corner so that they cannot go back on their answer. Okay. Then I'll say, well, John, let me ask you this. What's your cash on hand? Meaning, I'm not saying you have to spend it all, but what do you have available that you could spend today? Checking, savings, credit cards, stuff that you have now, not stuff that, is in Bitcoin, crypto, your Roth IRA. Like, what do you have that you could spend right now? And he goes, oh, I could spend, let's say 2,000. Now, what most people are doing when they don't have the cash or they say they can't afford it is they just don't want it, right? Now, in some cases, people can't. You have to understand if someone's making, less than 75 grand a year, $3,000 on a fitness program might be a little tough, right? We don't want to sell to everyone though. That's okay. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a number that you're willing to go down to. So for me, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. If I sold a $3,200 program for 4 months, that's $800 a month. But if I got someone on the call and they genuinely didn't have the money, the lowest I would go per month is $200. Now, some people will say, you shouldn't do that. It's not ethical. The thing is, it's your business. Stores do this all the time. Black Friday, they all lower the prices. Christmas, they raise the prices. You can do whatever you want. It's your business. The only reason you wouldn't want to do this is if someone genuinely can afford it, because then they don't need a discount. But if they can't, or they can, if they can't, you want to help people out. So what I like to do is, I don't know if someone can't afford it if they don't tell me what their cash on hand is. So let's say in this scenario that he says, I got $2,000. And I go, cool. Is that total? Is that savings? Do you need any of that for your bills? He's like, no, I got about 2,000 set aside for this program. I'm like, cool. And you have no other cash that you can, he's like, not really. Like, if I spent, $500 a month, that's about my max. I'm like, okay, cool. So John, and this is how you beat the price objection. Because at that point, what you can do is two things. You can either build more value, which is a lot harder typically, because if he only has $2,000, no matter how much value you build, he's not going to buy. Now, if he has the money, but he doesn't buy, then that's a value issue. But a lot of times when people tell you price, if you've done a good job, they actually just don't have the money, right? So, for example, if I was selling a Lamborghini, he goes, I don't have $500,000. You can build all the value you want, but he's not going to buy it. So in this scenario, what I say is, well, look, so the price of the program is typically, in this scenario, it says 16, but let's say it's $3,000. It's $3,000, John. But I don't think that's a realistic option for you based on what you told me. So look, I'm down to customize something for you. Look at my mouse. But before I do, I just want to make sure you can move forward today. Why do we do this? Because if it's genuinely a cash issue, I'm down to help someone, but I'm not going to give them a discount if they're not moving forward today, because it's not fair. Sales is not just about deals. It's about doing what's fair. And that would be fair. What a lot of people do on price objections, I see this all the time, is they go, hey, John, it's $3,000. They go, I can't afford it. Go, okay, what about 2? What about 1? What about 500? What about 250? That's not how you close. That's how you sound desperate. And people don't want to buy from someone who's desperate. I'll tell you that right up front. Nobody wants to work with someone who's desperate. So in this scenario, right, just so we're clear, what you want to do is get cash on hand, and then you can discount if necessary. You never do that before. And you need to have a minimum number. So someone goes, well, Tanner, what if they don't have even $200? Then you don't work with them. Right. But what you need to keep in mind is, as you're trying to build your business, every ounce of money helps. It's for ads, it's for team. And so I don't agree with sales trainers who will teach you that, oh, if they can't afford it, you need to build more value. If you can't do that, then you suck. I don't agree. Like, I don't care who you're listening to. I just think that's a bunch of crap. I think that's a bunch of crap when people just say, I think it's a cop out. Yes, in most cases, if it's a value issue, you need to do better. But in some cases, if that's all that person has, if they're a teacher and they make $40,000 a year, it is what it is. That it is what it is. So then what I'll do is, if they say, yeah, like I'm down to do it, I go, cool. So I don't think you should spend all of it, but I do think you should do something. Meaning, think about it. If your friend was trying to get something from you and it's all the money you have, would you tell him to spend all of it? Of course you wouldn't. So in this case, this guy had $2,000. So I say, well, look, you said you had $2,000 set aside for this. So I'll tell you what, if you can give me the $2,000, I'll go ahead and discount at $1,200. All I ask is you work hard. You don't tell any of the other customers, because some of the customers did pay full price, but I understand for you it's not doable. But I'm happy to do that for you if you move forward today. How's that sound? And a lot of times they will move forward and you take the payment. If not, then you go back to pain and belief, because you go, well, wait, I thought you just said if we work this out, you move forward. Now you're saying no. So that's how I beat price. If you follow this structure, you will close a ton of deals. The people who don't follow this structure almost always will say, hey, it's 3,000. They'll object. And then they go all the way down here and they start going, All right, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? That's not how you do it. You sound like a used car salesman. That's not what we want to do. Okay, so that is price. Next is spouse. So let's take the same scenario. Let's say I tell John, hey, John, it's $3,000 for 4 months. What do you think? And he goes, like, let me just go talk to my wife. You're going to go to A and you're going to say, well, what if she says no? And sometimes this is only 10 or 20% of the time they might say, well, I just do it anyways. You're like, great, let's go ahead and do that. Okay. B would be, what do you think their objection would be? So me, if he goes, well, what if they say, what if she says no, John? He goes, well, I wouldn't do it. That's usually what happens 80% of the time. So then I go to B and say, well, what do you think her biggest objection would be? And a lot of times they'll say price. So here's the funny part. He goes, well, she probably think it's price. So at that point, what he's admitted is he doesn't need to talk to his wife. He's admitted that it's a price objection. So guess what you do? You go back here and you go, got it. So it's not your wife. So if we're able to figure out price, you're down to do it because it sounds like you already know what your wife's going to say. Is that accurate? Yeah. And then you just work through price. Pretty cool. Okay. If he still says no, right? So let's say hypothetically they say, hey, it's a price issue, and you go back and he goes, I still don't want to do it. So that's the third time he's object. You go to past agreements. So past agreement is where you would say, well, look, does your wife know you're struggling with this? Does she approve of you struggling? Do you like struggling? No. Okay. And if the roles are reversed, would you support them? And usually they'll say, yeah. And you go, okay. So I guess I don't understand why they won't support you because you're not asking for permission, only support. Because here's the thing. If you ask them, they say no, and you don't do it, then what's going to happen in 2 years? You're going to resent them because that's when things are going to start to go downhill because you didn't own your goals. This is your goal. And you're just going to tell them, look, I got to do this because if I don't, I'm going to resent you. And I'm not going to complain about what I commit to. I'm going to go all in. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm just asking for support. What do you say, John? And at that point, they're either going to come in or he's going to, nah, dude, I hear you, but I still can't do it, which is then when you go to what's called a delayed payment. Delayed payments are your last ditch effort, meaning once you get 3 objections, it's a real objection. Now, whether it's, whether you think it's real or not, in their head, it's real. Usually when it's false, people will move the objection. They'll start saying different things. If they say no 3 times and it's like, no, I need to talk to my spouse. No, I need to talk to my spouse. No, I need to talk to my spouse. Then it now becomes a real objection. Okay. So hopefully that's clear. So when you move to D, you'll then say, okay, cool. So, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and I actually will set it up this way. So let me back up. If I go to delayed payment, I might set up and go, okay, well, John, let me ask you this. I super appreciate the fact you need to talk to your wife. Are you 51% sure you're going to say yes or 51% sure you're going to say no? Right? I know you're not 100%, but are you 51 yes or 51% no? They're always going to say yes, by the way, which is why you say that. And they go, cool. So let's do this. Since you're 51% sure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to go ahead and put down a deposit. And then if you go talk to your wife and she says that she doesn't want you to be healthier, she doesn't want you to be happier, she doesn't want you to, live longer, all those things. If she says that, I'll just refund and call it a day. Sound fair enough. And then what will happen is either they'll do it or they won't. And then you back off and you follow up and you'd say, okay, cool. Like, when can you let me know by? What time tomorrow? Cool. So if you can let me know by 10, you're in. If not, I'm just going to move on and we'll just say like, you're not able to come in the program. Is that fair? Because then that way I'm not chasing you around. Cool. Something of that nature. That's what I like to do. So that's spouse. Next is time. Time's easy. There's a million ways to handle this. A lot of times what people will say is, well, what do you need to think about? This will work, especially if it's a beginner, right? Especially if it's like a B2C fitness call, because they are not usually used to a bunch of sales calls. And a lot of times the reason people say that is they'll go, well, I need to think about price or I need to talk to my wife. What I like to do, and that can work. Okay. What I like to do that, I wouldn't say it's like much more advanced. It's just different is I like to say, well, look, do you know what deciding means? And they'll say no. I go, well, it means a cutoff, right? So are we cutting off your future of your dream state or your passive inaction? Because indecision is still a decision. So the question I have for you is these 3 things. If you know these 3 things, you're actually ready to work with us. You cool if I ask you that, John? Yeah. Do you think you're more or less likely to hit your goal working with us? Think about that question. If someone hires you to coach them on fitness, they're going to be more likely to hit the goal. You know what I mean? Like, obviously. The next one is, do you believe we're going to deliver to you what was promised? Right? Yeah. I think so. Okay. And then do you have access to funds? And typically they say yes. So when they do, I say, well, look, based on that, you actually have all the information you need to make a decision and move forward today. So those are the only 3 things. Those are the only 3 things that you need to know, and you've answered yes to all of them. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and move forward since you said yes to all those answers. Does that sound fair? If they still say no, you go back to the delayed payment. Okay. Delayed payment is always your last ditch effort in your pocket. All right. There's so much stuff on sales. I can't possibly cover it all in this call, but these are the main things. If you practice this and you get these 4 objections down, you'll close 80% better than most people. And then the last one is belief. So when there's a belief issue, keep in mind, lack of belief comes from fear. So when I'm thinking about how to beat objections, I go, okay, if they're scared, what are they scared of? And it's going to be, they're afraid it's not going to work. Of course, they're going to lose their money. You're going to waste time, whatever. So I just go right at it and say, well, look, what's the worst thing you could possibly imagine happening with us? And they're going to go, well, it's not going to work. I'm like, yeah, great. Well, you have 3 guarantees. Let's go through that. You can sign up and get results, and life's great. You do it and it doesn't work, you get your money back. That's a performance guarantee. We'll talk about that in a second. Or you do nothing and stay stuck. Now, with guarantees, you got to be very careful. In consulting or fitness coaching, you can only do what's called a conditional guarantee. Conditional means they have to do certain things to get it. So for example, when the government gives out money, a lot of times they say, well, you have to be in this income bracket, or you have to be this height, or you have to have this disease, right? Like they have something you have to have, a credentials to get it. This is the same thing where if you give a guarantee in consulting, you can't force someone to stop eating food. You can't force someone to go to the gym. So all you can force is getting them to do the things that if they do, will get results. So for example, I might ask, you have to send me a picture of your weight every day. You have to send me a picture of every meal. You have to text me once a day. You have to track your workouts. And if they don't do it, they don't get the refund, right? Because the only way someone wouldn't lose weight is if they won't follow the nutrition plan, right? Because it's physically impossible to not die if you stop eating. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you stop eating food for long enough, you will die. Okay. Same thing goes for drinking water. So you only will offer a guarantee if it is conditional. This is not done for you work. You can't do a money back guarantee like an app or software because it's not done for the client. I just want to make sure I'm really clear on that. Okay. So if you don't feel comfortable by saying that, you would just say, hey, you have 2 guarantees. You sign up and get results and life's great. We're both happy. Or you do nothing and stay stuck. Okay. It doesn't matter. Those are the 2 ways to do it. And then from there, I'd say, so look, all these options are risk-free. So are you going to pick the option that's going to give you the potential to get where you want to go? Or are you going to pick the option that guarantees you stay stuck? Okay. This down here, I'm not going to go into it because this is more of an identity shift where they don't believe in themselves. You guys can pause that and read it on your own. Actually, I'll go through it. But this is the main thing with belief is if they're afraid they don't work, just take that it doesn't work. Take away the risk. There is no risk, right? The only way it won't work is if you don't do what I tell you to do. And in that case, I'll give you a refund. It's super simple, right? And then they can't keep bringing up that objection. The Sephora story is more about people who want to lose weight, but they're unwilling to do what people who lose weight do, like go to the gym, eat healthy, etc. So what you say is there's the old you that's spending time and doing things on stuff that isn't moving the needle. Think of girls who are buying makeup at the store, right? It's like, it's not usually very productive, right? It's not going to really make a difference buying more makeup versus something else. But if you want to become a new person or the person you want to be, you have to start doing these new things, right? So if you want to step into a new identity, you have to do what rich people do, because rich people spend money on themselves. Rich people spend money on their mindsets. Rich people spend their money on their education. In this case, you'd say fitness people go to the gym. Fitness people eat healthy. Fitness people spend money on themselves, right? And because you want to align your identity with those who came before you and done things you're trying to do you really think that you need to, spend your money on something else that isn't going to move you towards that goal? Something of that nature. That's what these 4 objections do. So if you guys train on these 4 objections, I'm telling you, you'll be 80% better than most people. Now, in terms of taking payments, I want to show you guys this real quick. There's 2 places you can do. There is PayPal, which is not my favorite, but I like it better than Stripe. You can go here to take a payment, and then Wave is my favorite. This is, I think it's a Canadian-based company. Yep, there it is. Boom. And we love them. Great dispute team, great chargeback team. For those of you who don't know this, once you start a business, some of your clients who you give service to will charge back. It's really annoying. It's just part of business, though. You have to deal with it. But those are the 2 places we take payments. I get a lot of questions about that. And finally, we're going to move into a live call review. So let me pull that up, and then we're going to move right into that review. Just hold tight 1 second. We're going to do a live sales call now. Unfortunately, this gives it away. You can also see this was 5 years ago, so it all adds up. It's legit. I think it just gives more credibility to what I'm saying, that what actually happened. Now, as we're going through this, I have this sales script pulled up. Now, keep in mind, I don't want you focusing on what the questions are here, right? Because I've reiterated the script so many times over the years that finally what I did is I switched it completely over from what I was doing at the time, online fitness company, millions of dollars, to consulting, right? Because I've had a bunch of people ask me for help. What I want you to listen to is, do I do the intro? Do I do the discovery? Do I do the summary? And probably the funny part is you'll listen to me and I'm going to sound not quite as good as I am now. I'll make some mistakes. Hopefully I don't say anything offensive, that type of stuff. But I want you to listen to this. And this is a literal fitness call I took where I closed. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and dive in. Here we go.
Lennon, how you doing, brother? It's Tanner.
Hi, Tanner.
You hear me? Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm glad. What are you doing today? I thought, well, I guess that's a dumb question because I thought you're retired. Are you doing anything at all, or are you just straight retired? You're not doing anything?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything right now.
Nice.
Take some time off.
That's awesome. Yes, sir. That's good. That's good. I thought you were, one of my neighbors, he actually was in the service like you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like if you do it for 20 years, when you retire, that you still get some benefits. And then what I think he does is he has another job, so he's doing really well because he's kind of got like two incomes.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
That's awesome, man.
So right now, again, like I'm going to play at normal speed. What you guys can see is that I'm just getting ready for the intro. So like what we should be looking for is, did I do one? Did I do two? Did I do three? That's what we're listening for. Okay. There's going to be more mistakes. I'm younger. You guys can hear my voice, but hopefully, we'll get through this and you guys will learn from it.
That's awesome. So good job for you. That's great. I appreciate that. Well, Lennon, thanks so much for getting on a call with me. I appreciate it. I know it's Sunday, so, I know your time is valuable. Before we hop into it, how about you just, give me a little bit of overview about you. Tell me a little bit more. And then, we'll jump into the good stuff.
Well, I'm just trying to, come out of the military. My body kind of got a little broken, so I got out of shape. The last couple of years I was in the military, so I'm just trying to get back in shape with my age again.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. And then what's kind of your goal that you're looking for? Like, well, and before I even get into that, let me pre-frame it a little better. So, your application, I can't tell, but I'm on the phone too, but it seemed like maybe you're a little skeptical, maybe a little hesitant from some of your answers, but I saw your profile and, I'm a big fan of servicemen. So I still wanted to take your call. And so what I want you to know as we're going through this is the biggest thing for me is it doesn't matter if you sign up or not. Okay. If you feel this is a fit, come on board. If you don't think it's the thing for you, don't do it. The biggest thing I want you to get is clarity, meaning that if you've done this, this, and this in the past, and this isn't working, what are you missing? So kind of what you've done, why it's not working, and what you need to do to fix it. And if you understand that, regardless if you decide to work with me or not, this call should be valuable for you. So we'll go through it. At the end, I'll say, hey, you want to do this? Yes, great. We'll bring you on board. No. All right, man. Appreciate the time and, best of luck, or however I can help you. So if that's all good with you, that sound okay? And then we'll jump into it.
Yeah, that sounds okay.
All right, brother. So let's start right at the top. Kind of what I was about to ask you is, what's your goal and why does it matter? So, you want to do X, and then why is this important? Why did you schedule an hour of your time away today to talk to me? Those types of things.
Yeah, well, I had some back issues.
Okay, so that is the intro and pre-frame. Now we're moving into discovery. Don't focus on what these questions are. The goal is to learn the structure of a sales call so you can ask the questions that are going to get you the results you're looking for. Okay.
And then I started being able to work out, so I've gotten a little blubber around my midsection. So I want to, strengthen my back, slim down around the midsection. And I think that's going to help me out because my current condition, I have kind of problems sleeping now. Because of the back pain, all that good stuff, which now really allowed me to work out. So those are really the issues I'm working with right now.
Okay. And is there any other deeper reasons? So like you want to get back in better shape, totally get that. Is it like a confidence reason, or is it for like grandkids or kids? Is it something your wife said? Is there anything else that's kind of really pushing you to do this other than your back hurts and you think it'll make you feel better?
So that's pretty much it. Cause I think, cause I have been exercising because, for the back pain, but then my doctor told me, no, you gotta get moving. You gotta do more exercise. You gotta lift weights. You got to get around. So mostly for the back pain. That's the kind of major issue I'm dealing with now in my life.
Okay. So for you, it's strictly just around like, I want to get this back pain fixed and I'm not sure how.
Yes. And I'm assuming that some of the back pain is caused by some of the extra weight I got around my waist.
Oh, 100%. And it could also obviously be like a strength issue because it's like my back, I've had back problems. I've had a lot of issues. And when I had issues, it was usually because I wasn't doing certain exercises as well, you know, which is an easier fix. But yeah, I mean, if you're in better shape, 100% that'll help. How tall are you, by the way? Because your weight isn't that high. So how tall are you?
Right under 6 feet, like 5'11" and a half.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're good size. Okay. And so if you're 185, do you have a goal weight you're going for?
I mean, to me, probably like 160, maybe.
Yeah, it's about 25 pounds. Okay. Awesome. And so, Lennon, and am I saying your name right? It's Lennon, right? Is that correct?
Yes, correct, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I don't want to be butchering your name.
I mean, I don't have any problem with the weighing to 185. Is just like, kind of like, pretty much my weight is in like one little place.
Okay.
You know, but I kind of figure if I can slim down to get where I want, then I can kind of put a little bit more muscle on and gain a little bit more weight. But I kind of figure I got to strip down to a lesser weight before I can kind of build back up with muscle.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So what do you feel your biggest struggle is then? So what's keeping you in your mind from hitting your goal? What's the struggle?
I mean, I think it's a function of the not improper diet and the exercises I'm doing.
Okay. Gotcha. And what have you tried? Have you ever worked with anyone? Have you ever done any special programs like T90X, Beachbody?
You know, it's how I'm just discovery, right? So uncovering, figuring out what he's done so I can paint the picture for him.
Ecology, vegan diet, vegetarian, like anything at all.
Yeah, I've done P90X. What other programs they have? Insanity, some of those, but those kind of high impact. So, I mean, with my back issues, I couldn't really go through those programs like I wanted to. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, hey, couple days, maybe like it's a week. It's kind of like, okay, body's in so much pain, can't continue through those programs.
Okay. So that was the biggest reason you stopped, is it was just too much impact on your body, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And how long have you been stuck, Lennon?
Oh man, shoot, I've been I retired like 2.5 years. I mean, I've just been starting back probably like the last year, maybe.
Okay.
Also tried like keto. You know, I was doing that. I was up to like 195. I was able to get down. I was able to lose like 15 pounds with keto. But you know, that's kind of like something hard to sustain.
You also know this is pretty normal. Like in fitness, you'll see people who constantly doing different diets, routines, etc. It's usually the same story. Hey, I've tried a bunch of things, didn't work, and then you kind of take over from there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I got like, got a 15-year-old kid, so it's kind of hard to, you know, the kid and the wife eating one way, maybe another way. So
that's not going to work. How many kids do you have? One, or did you say multiple?
Just one.
Just one kid. Okay. Yeah, because here's the biggest thing too, and we'll get into it, is you have to find something that fits your lifestyle. Okay, and we'll go into why I'm so different and why some of my questions on the application, like, there's a reason I put some of those questions to kind of scare people, because the way I do things is a lot different than what you've probably been taught or what you've seen. And there's a reason for that. We'll get into it at the end, but you've been stuck for a year. So answer me this. You've been stuck for a year. So by you being stuck, and maybe that you haven't felt this way, maybe you have. That's why I asked. Has it stressed you out? Has it impacted your self-esteem? Has it caused issues with family and friends? Has it made your life more difficult by being stuck for a year? How has that impacted you negatively, if at all?
Well, I think so, but I got a lot of other issues. I have like PTSD. That's the other reason I'm not working now. PTSD, and the back pain, that's added stress. I don't get much sleep at night. Don't get the rest I want. So I mean, lack of sleep. That doesn't help.
Why do you think you're not sleeping?
Because of back pain.
Okay. And how long you had the back pain?
I've had the back pain for a while. I mean, probably over 3 years, maybe.
Okay. And have you ever had surgeries? Have you ever had anything like major done to your back? Anything like that?
I've had 3 surgeries.
Oh wow.
I had fasciitis injections, steroid injections. What did I have last? I had the what's it called? The kyphoplasty.
Okay.
My spine. So I had those 3.
How did you hurt your back? Was it something you did that's made all these surgeries? How did your back start hurting?
Really, I don't really know. I just woke up one day and back pain was there and it never went away.
Okay, and it really hasn't gone away since, even after all the surgeries and everything you've done.
No, and, the surgeries and they look at the X-rays and all that good stuff, and go to pain management, go see the doctors, and they don't see anything wrong. So I was like, hey, it must be a strength issue or something. There has to be something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe it's the weight of my waist. I don't know.
It's got to be stuff. Yeah, because it's like that's not normal. I mean, my dad had some pretty severe back pain, and he had a few surgeries. But yeah, it's like if you've had that many surgeries and it still hurts, there's got to be some other things going on because it just doesn't add up. Okay. Let me ask you. Got a few more questions I want to ask. Just taking notes. So you said and let me ask you a few things on your application. So there were a few things you said that I wanted to ask about. I was like, you said on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 I'm satisfied where I am, 10 I'll do anything to reach my goal. You put a 5. And then you also put, does your spouse or significant other support you? And you put no. So I wanted to ask you, why did you put a 5 and why did you put no for your spouse?
I mean, let me see the question again. It's probably in the context of the question. I mean, yes, he does support me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would you say about the scale 1 to 10? The question was basically, on a scale 1 to 10, if, you knew 100% basically that you hit your goal, that's a 10, you do whatever it took, you put a 5. So what was the reason you put a 5 for?
I mean, do whatever it takes. I mean, it's kind of like, as long as it's ethical.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do anything extreme, you know what I mean? Because my can't do anything extreme. So that's why I was kind of, took the middle ground on that one.
Okay, that makes a little more sense. Okay, cool. So, and that's why.
And notice how I'm just clarifying, right? I'm clarifying to make sure that there's no issues, that he's good to go. Because again, if I go through discovery and I drop the price and these haven't been resolved, he's not going to close.
That's why I wanted to ask that, because that helps clear it up. Okay, so let me ask you this then. And how many different programs have you done over the years? I mean, is it just been a few? Because you said P90X, Insanity, Keto, or has it been quite a bit?
I mean, those are really the only ones I kind of bought because, I mean, in the military, we do what's called, PT, physical training every day. So, I mean, really,
right.
Not a real need to do a lot of different programs. We do the calisthenics, jumping jacks, push up, sit up, run, little weight training. I mean, I did that for 23 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of set in that regard. Okay. So all this stuff is probably in the last, when did you retire? How long ago did you retire?
It's been 2.5 years.
Okay. So this has basically all been in the last couple of years once you left the military and you were doing things on your own, et cetera, right?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. Man, that sucks. It's like the second you leave, your back starts hurting. Jeez. Okay. Gotcha. So let me ask you this then. And some people can't answer this. It's a tough question, but try to, if you can, is, what does the perfect program look like to you? Or what would you need to make it successful? So if you went into a program or you worked with someone and you said, oh my gosh, this was the best experience of my life, all these things. What do you feel you would need to say something like that? What would that program have to do for you?
Oh, well, it has to be simplified. It can't be too overly complicated.
Yeah.
You know? And kind of like, it has to be kind of like, within those guidelines, kind of like we have to understand the nutrition piece. I think, the fitness piece and just kind of better understanding of the way, the body functions. I mean,
Okay.
kind of for those things and kind of, one of the things that kind of resonated with me about what you said is kind of like, hey, kind of like once you understand kind of way the body works and understand kind of certain principles, I mean, kind of like you really don't need another program. Just got to kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's like your body linen. It's like a car. It's like, as you get older, it breaks down more, but it's going to work the same way. Gasoline, oil, wheels, same thing. So you're 100% right. It's like, if you can figure this out, then this is an investment from 48 until you pass away. So that's how I try to get people to look at it instead of, well, Tanner, I got to pay you forever. I'm like, no, because if you pay me forever, that means I'm not teaching you, which means you're dependent on me, which is not good. That's what most people do. I want to, if you decide this is a fit, it's all about flipping the script. It's doing everything opposite of what you've kind of done in the past. And to be honest, like everything you probably were doing when you're in the military and stuff is great. But now that you're out on your own, you're going, well, I'm not in the military now and I'm getting older and I can't do it high impact stuff. And so you're starting to realize that's why it's so important to learn, because if you can't do what someone tells you and they just say, well, suck it up or too bad, then you're stuck. That's a big issue. So, okay. And so last question, then we'll get into it. What do you feel is the biggest thing stopping you from getting to your goal on your own? Why do you think that, you need help and that you're not able to get there on your own?
Notice that discovery typically, guys, like you want to do 20, 25 minutes. You want to get these calls done in an hour typically. This call's a little too long, but usually you want about an hour. So just keep that in mind.
I think expectation is upon the results I get, because I mean, to me, I have a slim frame, and pretty much the only place I really would develop and put on weight is in my gut area. So it's like, okay, well, I kind of do the right thing. I do a little weightlifting. I do, a little HIIT, do walking and stuff, but I just don't see any results. As soon as I think I can see results.
Okay.
So, I mean,
okay. You feel like you're, oh, sorry, go ahead. I keep cutting you off. I apologize.
No, go ahead. I feel like what now?
I was just saying, do you feel like you're guessing? Do you feel like that's why you're not getting results, because you think you're doing the right things, but you're not really sure? And so when you don't get results, it's frustrating for you?
Yeah, it must be a guess. I mean, if I'm doing things and, I'm not getting results, or maybe, the fitness industry has warped our expectations and, kind of, pushing the magic pill and, the instant. I mean, I don't believe in, overnight things, but it's kind of like, okay, I know if it took me 2.5 years to get here, it's not gonna, I can't wave a wand in 7 days, it's gonna all disappear from around my waist, but I would think there will be some indicators,
There should be, yeah. 100%. I mean, there should be. You're 100% right in thinking that. Okay. So that gives me a good base where we're at. So, with that being said, Lennon, if you're still feeling good in this conversation, the next thing I say is, are you kind of ready to hear about how this would work for you and kind of how you're able to get around all this stuff?
Sure. Definitely.
Okay. So there's 3 principles or pillars, I call them, kind of like I talk about a lot. And so really simply what I'm going to do is I'll explain it basically. And then at the end, if you have questions, you can hit me with as many as you want.
Okay, so now what I've done is I've gone through discovery. You guys are going to see me miss this part more than likely, and I'm going to go into the pillars. And the pillars are, we're going to go back earlier in the video when I walked through eat whatever you want, train however you want, lifestyle recalibration. You're going to hear those come up here, okay?
Okay. So the first pillar
here it comes.
Is what causes 90% of your results, okay? So that's nutrition, and specifically customized tailored nutrition plan based around you. Okay. So what that means is what all the other guys and programs out there do is they
Okay,
basically,
here I am. Here's the bad guy. Then I'm going to say, here's what I do. And then here's examples. And this is how you sell. Because remember, if you get on a call and you say, I'll give you customized nutrition, every other trainer on planet Earth says that, which means they're not going to pay you top price because every other trainer says that. You have to sound different. So listen.
come to you and say, hey, Lennon, you need to do this, do that, cut out sugar, cut out carbs, cut out fat, whatever they say, restriction. And if you don't like it, just suck it up and don't be a baby. So when you were doing keto, for example, keto is not, it's not that it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. Because here's the deal. Anything will work if you starve yourself. So what essentially they're doing with keto is they're taking out entire food groups, and then people think it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I'm like, why is that impressive that you can cut out tons of foods and you lose weight? Right? How's that impressive? Because it's all centered around restriction. So what we do and what makes us different, if you decide this is a fit, not only do we set it up for you, which is the easy part, but we teach you how you can eat whatever you want without sabotaging progress. So going back to something you said earlier, you said, you know, my wife didn't really like it because she had to make two separate things and we couldn't eat the same stuff. So if you're able to eat the same stuff they're eating and still get results, and it doesn't feel like it's this diet plan, it just feels like, oh, this is normal. This is how I do it. I stay within these parameters. I'll hit my goal. All of a sudden your life opens up and it's a lot more enjoyable because you don't want fitness to be your entire part of your life. You got guys out there who say, hey, Lennon, you got to eat every 2 hours. Hey, Lennon, you have to do 2 hours of cardio every day. Lennon, you can't do this. You can't eat after 6 p.m. You can't have carbs. You can't have sugar. They say all these things. You can, I can't. Well, the truth is you're 48 years old. So unless you plan on never eating bad food again, that's not going to work. So what you have to do is you go, okay, how can I eat bad food and still get results? Not because you're lazy, not because I think you can't
See this? And this is where I get people sold. Watch and listen.
do it, not because you don't have willpower, but because if you're always restricting stuff and you're always working your life around a food schedule, you're going to hate your life, period. Either that or you're not going to hit your goal. And at this point, if you don't hit your goal, it's like, how much longer are you willing to go through back pain? Because if your back's been hurting for 2.5 years, I can imagine you're kind of at a teetering point where you're like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. You've had 3 surgeries. It's like, I can't imagine you want to go too much longer without getting this fixed, right?
Right.
So the first pillar is that nutrition is 90% of your results. So if you don't learn how to do this, no matter what you do, if someone is just ordering you around or bossing you around, if you don't know why what they're doing is working, or let's say they're telling you incorrect things, because that's the biggest issue in the industry. It's not someone telling you stuff, it's telling you the wrong things, because that's worse than doing nothing. Incorrect information is worse than no information. So until you learn how to do this, you're always going to be a slave to some type of diet, program, or person.
You see how I really create the dichotomy? Like, if you don't fix this, this is how life's going to be.
So we got to reverse that. So what we do again is first pillar, 90% of your results. Learn how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging progress. You do that, life's back in your hands. You're back in the driver's seat. Right now you're in the passenger seat. We want to slide you over. Okay. Second pillar is what I call lifestyle workouts. So what everyone else does and what the other programs say is, you know, hey, Lennon, do this program. You're going to get amazing results. Suck it up. So P90X, Insanity, you know, even probably some of the stuff you did in the military. What's it all centered around? It's high intensity. It's extreme. And so it's going to get you quick results. But here's the deal. You're not going to be 40 forever. You're not going to be 30 forever. You're not 20 forever. So now you're 48. And you know that what you used to do gets you results, but you're going, well, Tanner, my back hurts and my knees hurt and my joints hurt. And like, I don't want to do that anyways because like I'm busy or I want to like spend time with my family, whatever it might be. Right. So what we do is we go, well, hey, Lennon, what do you want to do? Well, Tanner, I like to do a little cardio, but not much. Not a big fan. I'll lift weights, but I don't want it to be too intense. And I don't want to live in the gym. Okay, cool. So if we can do that for you, could you do it? Yeah, I could probably do that. Okay, because you're the one who's picking it. So is this what you want to do? Yeah. Okay, cool. So the goal here, Lennon, is to get you maximum results in the least amount of time possible. So if I can get you the same results that another trainer gets you in 6 days and I can get them in 2 days, which would you rather do? Would you rather work out 6 days a week or 2 days a week?
2 days, of course.
Right. So, and then the beauty in this is what? What's the beauty in this? The beauty is that if you learn how to do it minimally, that if you ever want to work out more, do more things, that you can do that. That's totally fine. But
yeah,
the big thing is if you can get maximum results in minimal effort, well, as you get older, when you're 58, when you're 68, when you're 75, you're going to keep adjusting, right? So if you keep paying for programs and trainers, you'll be paying for those until you die because you're never going to know. So you'll get some results and then you'll get frustrated with it and then you'll stop and then you lose results and then you get another trainer or program and then you get some results, but then you stop because it sucks. And then you see this pattern. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what everyone does. Yeah. So what we want to do is we come in and say, hey, Lennon, let's make these workouts lifestyle workouts. So instead of spending hours in the gym, we're hand delivering you a customized system that's going to work for your lifestyle, your wife, your kids, your vacations, your retirement, your joints, your body, everything, right? That's the goal. Right. The goal is anyone can get results starting themselves and working out a lot. The goal is how do we reverse engineer that and get you results doing things your way and not some way someone else says? Because that's pointless. They don't live your life. So if I told you to suck it up and do this and that, I'm 26 years old and I'm single. You're 48 years old and you're married and retired. Completely different. So we got to figure that out. Now, the last thing is what I call lifestyle recalibration. Okay.
Okay, so that's the second pillar. Now you guys are going to hear the third one. And keep in mind, like you don't need to look over here. Just like basically I'm going down the script as you guys can see, I'm following the outline. This is the outline, okay? When you say script, it doesn't need to be word for word. That doesn't help you be a good closer and think. It's having a structure. It's like a table of contents.
And so what I do in this part is I explain kind of the options you have from here, right? Because what I want to do is give you clarity. I don't care if you come on board or not. If you don't think it's a good fit, I don't want you to. But here's your options. You got two options. You got a PT, personal trainer at a gym. So you're going to pay anywhere between $50 to $200 a session, depending how like posh the gym is, right? So what happens there is you're going to the gym and you're paying them premium price to train you. But what's the issue with that? Well, 10% of your results come from training. What did we say earlier? 90% of your results come from nutrition, right?
Right.
So why people go, Tanner, why don't you train at a gym? Well, because I can't help you. Because if you're at a gym, it's illegal for them to do that. They're not supposed to.
Okay, so you see how I create the distinctions. So third is lifestyle recalibration. You can work with an in-person trainer, you could do beach body type program, or you can work with me. Watch how I create an enemy. Because again, if I eliminate all the other options, it makes it easy for him to pick me. But I have to eliminate them. Otherwise, he'll just pick the cheaper option.
And if I'm focusing on what gives you 10% of results and you're paying me a premium price, does that make any financial sense to pay me for something that only gives you 10% of your results?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. And then on top of that, what's their end game? Hey, Lennon, it's a 12-month contract. Does that sound good? Because at the end of the day, they're not trying to teach you anything and they don't really care because you're locked into a contract. So if you're locked in, you have to pay it whether you get results or not. You have to pay it whether they teach you anything or not. You have to pay it, period. You're locked in. That's the point of it. So what I do is completely different for that. Okay. And we're going to get into that in a second. Now, your other option is to do what you've kind of done. You can pay 47 to maybe $200 for a program, which is like T90X or Insanity. Now, they're very cheap and that's great in that regard. But the problem is that they send you a program. They say, do this, you'll get results. And if you have issues, email our support team. So you're still not learning anything. You don't know how to adjust. You know that if you do it, you'll get results. But what's happening to you right now is you're starting to realize, well, I'm getting older. I can't keep doing that. And so now you're in this rat race of, well, I don't know what to do. So your options are either go get a PT and pay for something that doesn't really help, or get another online program and just do it for a while until you get sick of it and then you get another one. So that's where you're at. So what we do instead, what I do, is if you decide this is a fit, not only are we going to get rid of all that, right? But what we do is we do one-to-one contact and handhold you throughout the program. So what that means is if you decide this is a fit, Lennon, that not only do we teach you how to eat what you want, not only do we teach you how to train how you want, but during the program, when you have questions, because you're going to have them, you have unlimited access to us via text and phone call. So think about it. If you are going through your day and you're learning how to do this and your wife goes, hey, Lennon, let's go get some pizza. And you're like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do that. I'm going to lose my results. All you got to do is you text us in 5 to 10 minutes and say, hey, Lennon, no big deal. Make this quick adjustment. Go enjoy your pizza. Or, hey, Lennon, you got a birthday party? No big deal. Do this. Go enjoy the party. Hey, Lennon, this is your boy.
That's too good to be true.
Yeah, it sounds too good to be true, but it's not, because as long, like, don't get me wrong, you can't eat 3XL pizzas a day and get results, but can you eat fast food and get results? Absolutely. And so think about it. If every single day, Lennon, let's say you have favorite bad foods, like let's say wine. Maybe you and your wife like wine, or maybe you like pizza or ice cream, or every single day, you know that when you wake up, you can eat whatever you want as long as you stay in the guidelines we give you and the principles. Well, then all of a sudden, life's a lot easier because you're not restrictive anymore. So if you have a bad day and you're feeling emotional and you want to binge out on ice cream, or, you know, it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, or it's the July 4th, or it's a birthday, like, as far as I know, those happen every single year. So if you're on a diet like keto and Christmas rolls around or Thanksgiving, you're not going to follow it. And when you don't follow it, what's going to happen? You're going to lose the results. You're going to get frustrated. Then you're going to restrict again. You see what I'm saying? So it's this vicious cycle. So what we do is what I call that lifestyle recalibration, because no matter what you decide by the end of the call, Lennon, this is where I try to get people in the phone call. I say, if you do nothing or you keep doing what you're doing, these are your options. You can hire the PT for premium price, but he's not focusing on 90% results. Or you can keep getting the cheap programs, but they're not teaching you anything. So it's like, if you have a water gun and you're trying to hunt deer, well, who cares? Because you can't squirt the deer to death. It doesn't matter if it's cheap. It doesn't matter if it's like what you want. You need to pay for what you need, right? It's like a surgery. Like, people
Also notice how I pre-frame him there and get ready for a high price drop. Okay. So he's ready to pay a lot of money.
People talk to me all the time. They go, well, Tanner, you know, how much is your program? Like, I don't know until I talk to you, because I need to know what you need. If you went to a doctor and the doctor told you how much it was before he knew what was wrong with you, you think he was crazy, right? Like, he's like, hey, it's $5,000. And you're like, $5,000 for what? It's like, it's just $5,000. Right. That's why this call is so important, because if you come in here and you're going, my back hurts, I don't feel good, I want to lose this weight around my belly, I'm not sleeping well. And I'm like, okay, cool. So if we're able to do all these things in this way I'm describing, it's this much, blah, blah, whatever. So anyways, I'm just trying to pre-frame this for you to understand that no matter what you decide at the end of the call, that the way you're doing things, it's not going to get better until you learn how to do this on your own. Because even if I gave you the best program on earth, Lennon, I gave you the best program, and you were getting crazy results, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Well, guess what? 6 months from now, things are going to change. 2 years from now, things are going to change. 5 years from now, things are going to change. So if you are always dependent on me, well, dang, I'm going to get real rich real quick. Because every time you have an issue, you don't know how to adjust. You have to ask me, and then you're going to have to pay me money. That's what most trainers are doing and coaches. Mm-hmm. So that's why I tell people, I'm not a trainer or a coach. I'm teaching you how to get a sustainable, flexible lifestyle for life, doing things your way. Because if it's your way, you'll always be happy. And if you're happy, you're 100% more likely to follow through for the rest of your life. If I give you something you hate, it's only a matter of time until you quit. It doesn't make logical sense for you to do something forever that you hate. You're not going to do it. I don't care how disciplined you are. And my guess is you're pretty disciplined because you're in the service. So we got to flip the script where we change everything for you. And then if you decide this is a fit, it's like, pay me one time and leave. Get out. Not because I hate you, but because I don't want you to pay me forever. Because it's in your best self-interest to pay me once. It's in my best self-interest to have you pay me forever. So when I go through this phone call, I make it very logical for people to understand that everything I'm saying makes sense, because everything I do, what I charge, how I do things, if you look at it from a logical standpoint, it all flows. Because if I say it's a one-time investment and I screw you over, you're going to go tell everybody. And if you go tell everybody, my business wouldn't be doing as well as it is. And if I don't teach you how to do this, or if I don't tell you this is a one-time investment up front, well, then what's going to happen at the end of the program? Hey, Lennon, you need to sign up again. And you're going to go, well, wait, I thought you said, oh, well, actually, you need to sign up again. Right. So everything I say is with you in mind, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make or break my business if you come on board. But what it does do is that I know if I can really help you and you lose this weight and you get rid of that back pain, then for the rest of your life, you're going to be in a better place and you're going to be happier. And if you're happier, your family will benefit because you're going to be in a better mood. If you're in a better mood, your wife, like, this is all related to life. Like, this isn't just fitness. The reason I love fitness so much is that if you lose this weight, other parts of your life will improve. It's not about losing the weight. Like, I bet you're a cool cat, right? So I can care less if you're 160 or 185. I don't really care. But what I do care about is what losing that weight is going to do for you, not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and other parts of your life, because you can't be successful in one thing.
Something to also take is, because this is an older call, I probably don't need to talk this much. I do think my tonality and confidence is good, but I probably don't need to talk quite this much.
And then not be successful in other things. It doesn't work that way. It's all related. So anyways, so with that said, Lennon, that's essentially how it works. So do you have any questions? Are there any things that you're like, okay, this doesn't make sense, or what about that specifically? Or, well, what about this, Tanner? Like, anything that you want me to go over in more detail or answer?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, with like the nutrition piece, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, that's kind of like the hardest nut for me to crack.
Yep. It's 90% of your results. That's why. That's normal. People like think about it. If I was just giving you a training plan, I just said it's 10% of results. So why would that help? Now, your training plan will definitely help with your back. There's no doubt about it, because my guess is you have a weakness in your back. I mean, you have to. But don't get me wrong. As far as the weight's concerned and getting leaner and stuff, that's nutrition. That is 100% nutrition. If you don't do that, you can go work out as much as you want, but you're still going to have that issue with your weight. That's just how it is. So,
I've seen some like programs, and it's kind of like, they give you macros, carbs, protein, fats, and it's kind of like, well, it's like you got to have X amount of protein. I'm like, well, how can I have that much protein and stay within my daily calorie count? I mean, like stuff like that just mystifies me. It's kind of like, there's no way for me to, I have kind of like a scientific background, so I look at this and I was like, that doesn't make scientific sense to me, this program that they're pushing, because for me to get that much protein, and for the protein source I'm using, it's going to require me to eat so many calories, and so I'm always going to my calories,
Yeah, it sounds like it might not have been smart people to work with. Like for you, Lennon, and here's the cool thing with us is like, that's why that third principle is so important, because think about it. If you come on board and you pay me a bunch of money and I go, hey, Lennon, thanks so much for paying my bills, man. Email me if you need help. Okay. You're going to be like, are you freaking serious? Like, I just paid you a bunch of money. But if you're able to reach out to us anytime you want, you have a question like you just asked me, you're like, well, Tanner, this doesn't make sense. Or Tanner, what about this? We'll answer it the entire time. That's the point, because you're in college again. You need to think of this as you're in college for a semester, and by the time you leave, you're going to know how to do it on your own. That's the whole point of college, isn't it? Like, to go and learn so you don't have to keep paying for it again, and you can go work in the workforce. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So how does it work? I mean, you have some standard training that's going to teach us certain things, and
Oh yeah. So like the specifically what we do, and that's why, like, I'm glad you asked, because I don't go into a lot of the bells and whistles, because some people are like, no, as long as you can do that, I don't care. But like the specifics would be, we give you access to our training.
Okay, so now we're in the overview. Okay, you guys see that? So now we're in the overview.
app or nutrition app where it's going to have your steps, reps, weights, videos, guidelines, instructions, like the whole nine. It's like opening Facebook, but you're training. It's like super simple to use, very easy. Then we have our Facebook group, right? We have our membership site. We do live video calls. We do Skype calls. We do text. We do phone calls. Like, we'll do anything you want. In fact, like if you came to me and said, Tanner, I want you to customize this and tell me exactly what to eat, we'll do that too. But what we say is we go, well, look, we'll tell you exactly what to do. But again, if you don't learn how to do this before the end of the program, what's going to happen? You're going to be in the same spot you are right now. So we put a premium on the education, because think about it. What is it going to take for me to really teach you? It's going to take a lot of effort and time. So think about it. Why do I charge premium? Because if I don't charge premium, can I do this for $47? Can I really give you as much attention as you need for $47? There's no way in heck, because I can't pay my team. I can't make a living. And then you won't get the one-to-one attention because we have 3,000 clients at $47 or whatever. Like, I used to do that in the past, Lennon. But the issue with that model, the P90X model, the insanity model, is they're not really helping people. Because think about it. It's a mass market program. So what do? They cut out foods and they say exercise a lot. You already know that if you starve yourself or cut out foods and you work out a lot, you're going to get results. So why aren't you just doing that? Because you get miserable. That's why you're on this call. Otherwise, just starve yourself and work out, and then you'll hit your goal of 160, right? That's all you got to do. But everybody knows that, right. But everybody knows after a certain point that it's like, well, this isn't sustainable, because everyone gets these programs that are like, oh, it's a 3-week program. It's a 3-month program. And they're not thinking 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So to answer your question, when you come in, that's why we do it the way I do it. Because guess what? Instead of me impacting 5 people's lives, 5%, I'm impacting 100%, because it's literally impossible for you to come in here and eat the way you want, right? Because we're going to check it off. So you say what you want to do. We'll go, that'll work. You tell us how you want to train. We'll go, that'll work. And then you can text or call us anytime you want. So the truth is Lennon, if you come in and you can't hit your goal doing it this way, how are you ever going to hit your goal? Because we're giving you ultimate control. You're choosing what you do. And then we're just making sure it's in the guidelines and principles. And we're teaching you so that when you're done, you can say, hey, Tanner, I love you so much. Appreciate you. Peace out. I'm not paying you anymore. That's what I want. Because if I've done that and you give me a testimonial, like you've seen the testimonials, I hope, if you look through the videos, like if you click on the pictures, there's videos attached to them. So it's like, if I was really scamming people and charging a premium price, you really think I could get them to do video testimonials for me where they're talking to me about it, where they're happy to do it for free?
Well, I didn't know that. If you click on the
you know what I mean?
I didn't know
yeah. So I say it above it because the reason is if I put all the videos, the page will load extremely slow because it's too much data. So what it is, it's called a video pop-up. So if you click on the pictures, there's videos that pop up. And so that way it saves the day. Anyways, yeah, there's videos on them. And I basically I just say click the pictures to see the video testimonials.
Yeah, I've seen it. But yeah.
Okay. But anyways, that's the goal, Lennon, is like if you come in, I try to make this decision logical because people will go, well, Tanner, why do you charge so much?
So at this point, the call is going way too long. Obviously, you guys can tell like I'm a little bit newer, beginner, but the thing I want you to see is like I'm really getting my points across and he's really buying into it, which is super important, right? Because I need to get his certainty to as close to 100% as possible so he'll buy.
I'm like, well, how can I help you in the way I just said if I don't charge you a lot? Because if I like...
Do you see how I keep priming him? See how I keep like priming him for a high price? I want you guys to notice that.
Think about it. If I have hundreds of clients, and I'm telling you right now that I text and call every client every day, like we'll reach out to you first. We'll say, Lennon, how you doing? If I have 300 clients, you know I'm lying because I can't do that, right? So how am I able to leverage my time and still impact people and give them a high service? I have to bring in coaches and I have to assign you a coach. And if I do that, then I have to pay the coach, right? And then I have to it's all logical for me because it's an emotional decision as well. But at the end of the day, it's like the whole reason I do what I do and I charge what I charge and we have these phone calls is because I got to get people to understand that it's like, until you figure this out, you are a slave to whatever person or program tells you. So if you learn how to do this, all of a sudden, when you get older, if you have more kids or you have more grandkids or you go on vacation or you get in a car accident and you can't go to the gym for a week, it's not a big deal. You're not going to get obese and like ruin all your progress, because if you can eat what you want, you got to eat food every day. And then if you can get results without training hard, well, that's the biggest thing people think that drives results. They're like, well, what if I can't go to the gym? I'm like, well, who cares? Can you follow the nutrition strategy? Can you stay within the principles we've given you, eating what you want? Well, yeah. Okay. So why are you worried? It's simple, but the problem is the fitness industry is unregulated. So you got people who are certified in 2 days, and then you got doctors who are certified in 12 years. So why is it a surprise when you talk to a lot of idiots in the fitness industry? Anybody can be a coach. That's the problem.
I saw your video on the low barrier entry, but I tell you why that's possible, because all those doctors that go to school for 12 years, they don't know shit about nutrition.
Yeah.
That's why the idiots who claim that they know about nutrition are able to pass this stuff off on us.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, but I guess like the analogy I'm making is like, the reason a lot of people get stuck in the fitness industry and they end up trying a bunch of things is because anyone can be a coach per se. Like you could literally today go out and you could say you're a coach, and if someone pays you for it, like, well, there you go. There's your first customer. There's your first client.
Yeah.
But
I'm a coach.
That's right. So like, well, Beachbody, think about what Beachbody does. Beachbody does Shakeology. So they go out and anybody who signs up, they're like, yeah, you're a coach. Just, help your friends and sell our shakes. Right. Their model is all about residual. It's all about making money forever, because and as long as you buy their shakes, they're like, you'll get results as long as you drink our shakes. But as soon as you start drinking the shakes, what do people do? They go back to their old ways and they gain the weight back. So it's like, instead of me saying the same thing everybody says, I go, okay, so Lennon, what if I put you in the driver's seat? What if I teach you to eat the things you want so that every single day you can eat different things? Instead of, hey, Lennon, I need you to do oatmeal and egg white, chicken and broccoli, salmon and, green beans. Like every meal is just boring and bland. You have no variety and you can't change. Like your life is not stagnant. Life is constantly changing. So if you have a constantly stagnant workout or nutrition strategy, it's only a matter of time until you have to change it. And if you don't know how to change it, you see how this is this rat race. And until you get out of the rat race, you can do whatever's best for you. That's the thing. But this is where this clarity comes into the call, where someone has an aha moment and goes, what Tanner's saying makes sense, because if I don't figure this out, whether I work with Tanner or not, I have to figure it out. And if I haven't figured it out on my own, the chances that I figured it out with someone else or on Google are slim to none. So, okay, Tanner, I guess I'll work with, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to make it logical for them and get them to understand. I'm not trying to be schemy. I'm not trying to be sketchy. I'm just doing what I have to do to actually help people, because, I was a petroleum engineer before this. I don't have to do this job. Right. I mean, people are like, well, are you doing it for money? I'm like, well, no, because I can make a ton of money doing what I was doing already. So it's genuinely like, for me, fitness changed my life. And I feel that fitness is what led me to play Division I football and become a petroleum engineer and like build my business, all these things I learned from fitness. It changed my life. And so what really drives me to help people with fitness is the benefits. Like yours is a little bit more physical than most people. A lot of people will come in and say, I'm depressed. My wife divorced me. My wife doesn't want to look at me. Some crazy hardcore stuff. Like they're just like, oh yeah, dude, I had a guy who said his wife didn't want to have sex with him anymore. Like he told me that. Yeah. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine if your wife said that to you? It's like, wow, that's got to be like the hardest thing on earth to hear. So, but anyways, I don't want to keep ranting, but do you have any other questions? Like essentially how it will work for you, Lennon, it's like, we're going to hold your hand every step of the way. So if you come in, I tout this as the best program on the market for a reason, because if you come in, we're going to hold your hand every step of the way. You're going to have a coach assigned to you, whether it's me or someone else. That's just the pricing. We'll go into that. But there's literally zero reason for you to fail, especially with your background. You were in the military. So if I flip the script and say, hey, you can do what you want and it's going to be easy and flexible, just make sure you stay within our guidelines and you ask us questions. The military is completely opposite. I mean, if you don't do what they tell you to do, you're not going to stay there. So with your discipline and work ethic and where you are in life, for me, it's very simple as like, we just got to teach you this. And then once we teach you, you're done and get out and go do your thing. That's it. So yeah. Anyways, do you have any other questions? That was a good question. I'm sorry I ranted on for 20 minutes.
No. Good information, good advice.
Yeah, cool. So, from here, Lennon, it's just kind of where do you want to go from here? You know, if you feel good about it, we can move forward. We can tell you the options. If you are kind of like, not feeling it.
Yeah, let's move forward. Let me hear.
Okay, so now I'm in certainty. Okay, so did you guys hear me do that? So create certainty. Are you feeling it? How do you like it? Now we're about to go into pricing.
The options here.
You got it. Okay. There's two options. It's a 16-week or 4-month program, okay? The reason for that is in 16 weeks, you can 100% hit your goal, and it gives me enough time to teach you everything you need to know, okay? I'm not trying to drag this 16 weeks, 4 months. So my goal is not to drag this out as long as possible. So like I told you earlier, I tell all the clients up front, I say, you're going to learn everything you need to know, okay? Now, do clients re-sign sometimes? Absolutely. Why? For accountability and because they love me and the coaches. That's it. They don't re-sign because they don't learn what they need to know. They re-sign because they want the accountability and they want to keep going. So, for example, if you're a 300-pound guy and you want to lose 100 pounds, I can't do that in 4 months, right? It's just common sense. Definitely. Your goal, we can definitely hit in 4 months. Absolutely. So I just wanted to pre-frame with that so that, you know, I just tell everyone that up front so they're not just like, you drop the price and then you try to backtrack and it's all like, it just doesn't make logical sense. So there's two options. For the 16 weeks, the goal would be to bring you in, get rid of the back pain, lose the 25 pounds. Okay. That's what you said is important to you. And then essentially give you that knowledge to do this for the rest of your life. So option A is more expensive. Option A is to work with me 1-to-1. The reason it's more expensive is very simple. I have to make it fair. And as the business has grown, I can't work with everyone 1-to-1. So if someone wants to work with me 1-to-1, I make it more. That's how I make it fair, obviously. I also have limited spots because if I'm doing 6...
Keep in mind, you guys are going to hear this because I'm still taking the sales call, right? So when you start getting... The reason I did 2 options is because as I'm building my team and I had coaches, I didn't want people to be like, oh, I want to work with you, because I didn't really want them to work with me so I could scale the company. But when you start and you're coaching, you don't need to do this. I just want to keep that in mind. This is called a 2-option close.
Phone calls like this a day, like I'm doing with you, and you text me and you just pay me a bunch of money. It goes back to what I said earlier. You're going to go, wow, Tanner really sucks. I paid him a bunch of money and I can't ever get a response until it's too late and I don't need it anymore. We want to make sure that when people come in here, they have nothing negative to say when they leave because we deliver exactly what I said. And that's been our experience. And that's why we're growing so fast. And that's why you see all the testimonials and good things people say, because if you're charging a lot of money and you don't deliver, people will talk about it and they'll say bad things about you. So you definitely have to keep your word. So for the 16 weeks, if you wanted to work with me 1-to-1, Lennon, it's 4,800. Okay. That's option A. Now, I would throw this joke in. I'd say, if you had a heart attack when I said that, or your eyes fell on the floor or whatever, right? What I do is if someone comes to me and they say, hey, how much is your program? Or how much is it to work with you? And they won't go through my process. So like you went through my process, you did an application, you watched my stuff, you saw my videos, you're on the phone call with me. That's my process. If they don't do it and they're adamant about it, I just say, hey, the price is 4,800 period. Okay. So what I do in this instance is if that is too much, or you're just like, you know what, Tanner, you're great, but I don't need you, or you're not as cool as you think you are, you know, whatever the reason is, right? What I do is I drop the price 1,600 as long as you can do a minimum deposit. Okay. So as long as you can do a minimum deposit today, like you're in, it would be like if you're in and you're 100%, but it's like, I just got to look at my finances, or like my wife.
Okay. This also is like a little bit more of an old school beginner price drop, right? So basically what I'm saying is, hey, look, like as long as you can get in today, do something, like I'll kind of give you that special price. Again, I don't recommend this going forward. This was 5 years ago, guys, but I wanted to give you like real live footage, like when I was actually going through it, and not something from like a client or even something, you know, that's going to be from someone else. I wanted to make sure this was like up to date. So just like be listening to this because this actually goes through. Okay.
is going to freaking kill me if I don't tell her, or whatever the reason might be, as long as it's a logical reason, right? As long as you can do that, what I do is I drop the price $1,600 to $3,200, and that's what I call option B. So what option B is you still get everything I promised. I don't disappear. Like, I'm never going to disappear. This is my personal cell number. So if you text me, you're going to be talking to me. This is my number. But the difference is that you would be assigned to one of the coaches. The reason for that is very simple. Like I said earlier, if I'm promising you the level of service that I just did, and I'm trying to text hundreds of clients every day, you know I'm lying, because that's impossible. So what this does is it still allows you to have the high level of service in the way I promised. And it also makes it a little easier to swallow because it's a little less money. The goal, again, is that when you're done, you don't ever pay me again. Okay, so the whole point of this program is to make this a one-time thing for you. You come in, you get the best service you can possibly have. You get everything catered to you, customized nutrition, like we teach you everything. And when you're done, this is the last time you pay for fitness help. So if you look at this as you're 48 and you pass away when you're 80, hopefully it's longer, but let's say average it's 80. This is good for the next 32 years because, like I told you earlier, cars get older, the way they work doesn't stop working. You might not look as efficient, but the gas is still going to need to be in there. The oil still need to be in there, and you're going to have to still have wheels. And so this isn't something that it's like, this isn't a fad. This isn't something that's going to stop working. It's like, if you can truly eat the way you want, you can train the way you want, it's game time, because now life's in your control. And if you have a back issue and you have knee issues, and I say, hey man, I need you to do P90X and jump around and do cartwheels, you're like, well, that sounds great, but I can't do that. And I go, oh, well, I guess you just got to suck it up or you're not going to lose the weight. That's no help to you. So what we need to do is fix that. So anyways, with that being said, Lennon, I just tell people, I say, look, 3 things, rhetorical questions. 1, do you trust me? If you don't trust me, don't come on board. 2, is this what you need? And do you think it's going to change your life? If you say no, don't come on board. 3rd thing is, if it's those 2 things are, yes, I do trust you. Yes, I do think this is what I need. Then it's just working out this final detail. And if you really want on board, that's the most important thing to me. The price is the least the least important part to me, because at the end of the day, your decision doesn't make or break my business in terms of you coming on board or not. So it's more about those first 2 things. And then if you want in, great. And if you don't, or you don't feel it's a fit, like, it's not going to hurt my feelings, because at the end of the day, I want to do what's best for you. If I do what's best for you and I keep doing what's best for everyone else and I keep telling the truth, good things happen no matter what. That's been my experience. And so even if I don't force you into it and you don't want to do it, well, guess what you're going to tell people? Man, Tanner's a good guy. He had a conversation with me for an hour and he didn't force me into something I didn't want to do. He's a good dude. Instead of, man, this Tanner guy forced me into a situation I wanted to be in, and and just negative stuff. So anyways, it's kind of, what are you thinking right now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I like the program. Yeah, just gotta run it past the wife. Let them know what I'm.
Okay, so that was a lot of diarrhea of the mouth. That was a little too long, but now comes the spouse objection. So he's got to run it by the wife. Why? So here we go.
doing.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you feel? How do you feel? How you feeling right now about it? Like, honestly, like scale 1 to 10. 10, you're definitely in. 1 is you're a psycho. How are you feeling?
About a 9.
About a 9?
Yeah.
Why do you say a 9? What's holding you back? What's your biggest concern?
Oh, I'm just just looking at the finances. The finances work out for me, then I'm all in.
Yeah. So price aside, is price the only issue for you, or is there anything else?
No, I think price is the only issue for me.
Gotcha, brother. So, you're retired. I know you probably have a good idea of what your finances are looking like, et cetera. So, you can be super blunt and honest with me. What is your biggest concern as far as price? Are you just like, is it more of the fact that I can't do it, or is it more the fact you're like, I don't know if it's worth that? What's like going through your head?
I think it's worth that much, but I don't want to get to a point where I'm strapped for cash in my retirement age.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm not working now, not because I don't want to, because it's really physically impossible for me, because with the sleep and
because of the issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this one. Here's where the road meets the rubber, brother. It's like, if you don't fix this, are you ever going to be able to go back to work?
No, definitely not.
Okay. So do you want to go back to work?
Oh yeah. Once
Okay.
there's back pain, I get some strength there. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this: if this fixed it, right? If this does what I'm promising, because if I don't deliver what I promise, what did we say earlier? You're going to go tell everyone I'm full of crap. So if I can actually bring you in, I deliver what I promised, and it costs you $3,200, and then you're able to go back out and make 50 to 100 grand a year, whatever you make. I don't know how much it is. I mean, that's a pretty good investment, wouldn't you say? Because that's what, a 25x ROI, a 20x ROI. Because if you're only having to pay $3,000 and then you can go back and work for the rest of your life, that's going to be a huge financial return for you, right? And so it's 100% up to you. I want you to do what's best for you. But what I can promise you is, if that's really your end game, and the biggest thing for you is price, it's like, I can do payment plans. I can do whatever is best for you, man. It's not like you don't have to pay it all up front right now. Like, I'd love it up front, but if you need to do a payment plan, that's the only thing holding you back, or, you have some concern that you need to bring up with me that we haven't spoken about. Cause I'm an open book. You can say whatever you want to me. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But if I don't know what's going through your head, or I don't know where you're kind of like hesitant, then it's hard for me to help you make that decision. My thinking, though, is if that's 100% true, like you just said, this is a no-brainer, in the simple fact that if you can't go back to work, that's when money becomes an issue. But if you have this income coming in, and then you can go back to work part-time or whatever you decide to do, I mean, that's easy. That's an easy decision, because that's the only way you get there. And everything you've tried, like, you've done 3 surgeries, you're doing these other programs, whether you work with me or not, you got to figure this out. And so if you don't figure it out with me, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't figure it out with me, what are you going to do? And it's like, no, I don't know. And maybe you have a backup plan. I don't know. But what I can promise you is, if you come in and you do what we say, you can't fail. It's impossible. It's literally impossible, because everything we're doing is scientifically proven. It's just teaching you the correct principles and getting rid of the fluff. You have so much noise in your head right now that we got to take 98% of it and put it in the trash can and say, focus on these 2 things. And if you focus on these 2 things, Lennon, everything I just told you is going to happen for you. So here's the deal. Here's what I'm thinking. You let me know your thoughts. I 100% want you to talk to your wife. Like, I never tell a married man he can't talk to his wife. But if you're feeling good about it, what I usually do in this circumstance is you put down a minimum deposit, 100% refundable. I don't want to keep your money if you don't come on board. You talk to your wife, or you let us get on a 3-way call. Some people want me to talk to their wife. Some people don't. That's your decision. I'm not going to force it on you. Obviously, I can explain it better than probably you can. But then from there, it's just, if you get the green light and she's not going to divorce you, then we move forward and we bring you on board. And then if not, then you get your refund back. But what that does is, it does show me that what you're saying is serious and that you do want in. If you don't, then from here, I'm just like, hey, do it. I wish you the best, and I'll try to like direct you to someone else, because I don't want to force you in. But if what you're saying is 100% correct, this is the moment where, we either do that, or you just tell me what's holding you back. If it's just the price and everything else sounds good, that's an easy fix. The price.
Oh, and also notice, like, I think at this point, I didn't have quite the same structure I had now, right? But notice that, I mean, I'm pushing him into a corner so that he can't try to get out of it, so to speak. Okay.
Price is not hard to work around. What is hard to work around is if you're just thinking, man, this guy's nuts, or I'm skeptical still, or, whatever it might be. It's completely up to you.
No, I don't think they're nuts, because I mean, it's kind of like, I know somebody out there just want to know what's going on, how to solve the mystery of the human body and how to lose fat and keep muscle on. Somebody has to have the Rosetta Stone to that.
Right.
It's just,
I got you.
It's just, I mean, it's kind of like, that's a barrier. That $3,200, that's like the most I've ever paid. I've only bought, invested, $70, $60 something into exercise programs. Never a complete coaching program like this. So,
100%. And like, to your point, kind of what we talked about earlier, you can go that route. That's fine. But it's like I said earlier, it's like you pay for a water gun for the deer hunt. It's not what you need. I mean, it's just irresponsible of me to bring you in and then say, hey, I can do this for $100. No, I can't. I can't give you a coach 1-to-1. I can't set up everything for you. I can't do all the FaceTimes and video calls. I can't do all those things because if you think about it too, like the way you can logically think about it too, Lennon, is a personal trainer, right? Let's say you go got a personal trainer. If you get a personal trainer for 4 months, 3 days a week, you're paying anywhere between $2,500 and $5,000. So where does this fall? $3,200, right? And you're getting 4 times the value. Because what does a personal trainer do? Talks to you in the gym for an hour, does your workout, goodbye. So what we're doing is we bring you in. We're doing 1-to-1 support. Go ahead.
Yeah, having received the training for you, there's no way I would ever pay for a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Because that's only 10% of my gains.
Yeah,
Why would
exactly.
I spend 10% of my gains, right?
Exactly. So yeah, and exactly. And so the way I also justify, because everything I try to do, I make it logical for you. Because you're a serviceman, I get it. Like I understand. Like it's just logical for you. So it's to me, it's like if you go get a personal trainer and they cost $25,000 to $5,000 depending. That's the low end to the high end, probably, right? Low end to the high end. We're falling at $3,200, but we're doing 4 times the value because you can call and text us anytime you want. We're doing everything short of physically being there in person with you and babysitting you. That's it. That's the only other thing I could add to this service without physically being there, because if you can communicate with us whenever you want and you're getting all those things customized, the only thing for you is you got to figure this out on your own. And we're handling the nutrition. That's 90% results. That's the number one thing we focus on, because if you miss the gym, I don't really care because it's 10% of your results. What I do care about is we got to get this weight off, and we have to do it in a way that when you're done, you don't hate your life so much that you go, you know what, my back feels better, but I'm so miserable. Screw this. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. Because that's what will happen. And so that's why I say for you, Lennon, if it's just the price, I get the price. Trust me, because it's a lot of money. It's a good investment. It's not like a decision to handle lightly. But at the same time, you got to think of this in a long-term thing. Because if you think of it in 4 months, you're going to pull your hair out and you're going to have a heart attack. But if you think of this in terms of, yeah, you will. I mean, you will. But if you think of this in terms of the next 30 years, and you divide that up, I mean, you're talking dollars. You're talking dollars per month.
So I'm building a lot more value here, right? I'm building a lot more value.
Because it's forever. If I said every 4 months you had to pay me this, I could 100% understand if you're like, you're nuts, dude. No way. But that's why I logically try to explain everything so that when we get to this point in the conversation, I'm going, dude, I'm not trying to scam you and I'm not trying to charge you more than I need to, but I have to pay my team and I have to make sure we deliver on what I said. And if we deliver, nobody really cares after because they got what we promised. Your biggest concern is, man, if I pay this guy this much money, is he really going to do what he says? And so what I say to people in that is like, well, look at what the results have been. Look at what my business reputation is. Look at how many people are signing up. Like it's getting ridiculous at this point how fast we're growing, because if you deliver what you promise, people are going to tell other people, and there's no bad stuff to be said. Like there's nothing bad people can say about me because everyone who comes through hits their goal. And if you hit your goal, why would you say something bad about me? And if I don't, you're going to tell everybody. So I wouldn't have a business anymore. It's impossible because I've had so many clients that if someone like you came to me and said, well, dude, I see all these negative reviews. Like, I don't really trust you. I don't have any negative reviews. I'm sure I'll get some eventually, right? Like it's probably a matter of time, but I don't have any right now. And, we're doing very well. Let's just put it that way. Like it's a very profitable business, but I do have to pay the expenses. I do have to pay out the team and stuff. So, I get it, but here's the other thing. If it's just you splitting it up, like, I don't know how you're thinking of the price. Like if you need to splitting it up's not a big deal. Like you can do a credit card, you can do PayPal credit. You can, even someone like you, like you're retired. I'm not really worried about you paying because it's like, how much money's coming in every month. So if you're like, hey, Tanner, can we just split it up a little bit more? I'm like, yeah, let's split it up. It's not about like you pay me all up front or anything like that. It's just about you making that commitment, and then I'm able to pay my team. And as long as I can pay my team and you're committed, I want you in because I know I can help you. And if you don't, or like that's going to be the one thing holding you back, it's like, well, don't do it. Because to me, it's your decision, it's your life. So I don't tell people what to do. But I will say, it's like, if your biggest thing is losing this weight so you can go back to work, this is going to be the best investment of your freaking life. Because if I can actually do what I'm saying, you're going to make so much more money. It's like, this is a drop in the bucket. If you can't go back to work, then it starts getting scary. Because if you don't fix this, you can't work again. And if you don't work again, then you really are on this income for the rest of your life. Yeah. That's the way I see it. And if you've had 3 back surgeries, like, you have no other options, Lennon, in my opinion. The only other option is for you to go try to find someone else and hope that you can learn what I'm talking about for less. Maybe someone else out there does it. But as far as I know, nobody else has, because I'm one of the only businesses who's doing as well as I'm doing, because I'm coming at it with a different approach. I'm not just worried about my bottom line. I'm worried about the customer. It's a lot more. I make a lot less money doing it this way because I have to pay so many more people. But the customer, the person who is a real person, you know, you're out there somewhere sitting on a couch right now talking to me. You're a real person. I realize that my biggest goal in life is, as I've made money, is it's not about the money. It's about changing your life. If I really change your life and I do that, you're going to love me forever. Because you're going to say, yeah, this Tanner guy did what he said, and like, I was able to go back to work and my back feels 100 times better and my life completely changed. That's kind of what I'm after. So anyways, I don't want to talk your ear off. I know I do that. It's a bad habit. I'm just really passionate. I'm really passionate because I know
you should be doing work.
I know where you're at, and I know, like, it's a big decision. I've had my own decisions to make as far as investing in my own business. You know, I've had numbers that were, 5 times higher than this. So trust me when I can say I can relate. Like, I know it's a scary feeling, but what I can promise you is if you do it, you won't regret it, because nobody comes in my program and doesn't succeed. It's impossible, because I make it that way. And the only way for me to make it that way is to kind of charge what I do. So here's it's up to you, but my thoughts are, just feeling you out through the call. If that's your biggest concern, what I would do is we just do minimum deposit. You talk to your wife, you can get me on a call with you guys. And if after you still feel hesitant, don't do it. But if you do.
Okay, so it's delayed payment, right? Because he's scared. It's a lot of belief issue. Notice how it wasn't really a price, it wasn't really spouse. It was mostly belief. And I was going really hard on this guy. This is years ago, but I'm actually proud of myself on how hard I went.
Feel good after that, then we'll bring you on board. That's my suggestion. You don't have to do anything, but obviously, like, I don't hold the discount if you don't do anything. Part of this is, obviously, I want to incentivize you to make a good decision, right? I want you to come on board. I think I can help you. I know I can.
Come on board. I just want the payment plan.
Yeah. So what a payment plan typically in a perfect world would be 4 months, right? Because it's a 4-month program. Now, there's a few options. If you're saying the last option would be, hey, Tanner, I can't do it in 4 months. I need you to be brutally honest and say, what's the fastest timeline you could pay me the money without lying, right? Because if I do that, then it's like I'm trusting you to be honest with me like I've been honest with you. The other option is, if you have really good credit, there is a way to do PayPal credit, right? So PayPal credit is 0 APR for 6 months. And then what that allows you to do is you can pay it over the 6 months. And then after, you do have a little bit of interest if you go over 6 months, but it allows you to pay it. And then you have 2 more months to pay it out. So either way works for me. It's just, I just need you to be blunt and honest with me, because you know your finances, I don't. And so it's just like what would work for you.
So notice I don't follow the same price drop structure. So obviously that's also why I showed you over the years I got better, but I did want you guys to see this call.
What's feasible?
Well, let me look at my PayPal now.
Okay. Have you ever done PayPal credit?
I have.
Okay. So is that kind of what you're leaning towards?
That's what I was leaning toward. I only have like 2,100.
Okay.
Credit available for that.
Okay. So we could do a mix of the two. Just let me know what you're thinking, because we could do this. We can do a payment plan. That's fine. We can do a payment plan. We could do, you could do the 2,000 on.
Also notice this is why you ask for cash on hand, because even notice here, I'm just throwing out numbers. You never want to get in this situation. So I luck out because I'm really confident, but this is not the best way to close this call, right? Like you're going to want to close it going back off the script the way I was teaching earlier.
On the PayPal credit. And then what that essentially does is it would buy you essentially like 3 months. And then after the 3 months, I don't know. It's kind of what I'm just trying to figure out what you're thinking. I'm trying to do what's best for you.
Yeah, I definitely want to use credit. It's not like I can pay this all up in a month or two. The more time I have, the better for me.
Okay. So you said so what would make sense for you? Like if we did the PayPal credit, we can do that. And then for the rest of it, what would make sense for you as far as, because I don't really care. It's just us being on the same page. That's the most important thing.
I think I have 6 months to pay this in PayPal, I think it is.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 6 months. Well, you got 6 months until you start getting hit with interest, but you got 6 months. Yeah.
All right. You know how that works? I mean, is it based on the date of the purchase, or is it
the day of it's the date of the purchase? That's correct. So if you purchased it today, you have 6 months from today with 0 APR. And then what happens after that is
piece, right?
For that particular piece, that is correct. And then after that, they do start doing a little bit of interest, right? If you go over the 6 months, but that would give you obviously 2 extra months. And then, I don't know what you were thinking about, like for the rest, but that's definitely an option, I don't know. Like it's just, whatever literally makes sense in your head, you can just throw it out. And then I work on you with it, because like I said, the price is the least important thing. It's just you being like, I feel like you're being honest. I don't think you're lying. So
yeah, I think I do, PayPal and then a credit card.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me do this. Let me send you the PayPal one, and then we'll do the rest on the credit card. So here's the PayPal one. You just come and see it.
Speed this up a little bit, guys, so we can finish this call.
Like
just the payment, just to make sure that you see it went through.
You want to see it, and then I'll do the rest on there. Handle that one first before I bother you more. You're gonna start handle one thing at a time. Lenny, you say your last name Hodo? Is that it could be on you? That's a cool name. It's cool. I play football, so I can see that on my last name. People can make a lot of cool stuff with that.
You got PayPal email address?
Mine?
Yes, you need mine.
No, so I sent you the PayPal invoice. So what you would do is you just open it. You can pay PayPal credit right now for the PayPal one.
How do you send it to me?
Via email. That's the right email. It's
Okay, let me log in and see.
Yeah, sorry, you're probably like, Daniel, what's going on?
Yeah, okay.
So then you just open it, and then when you click on pay invoice, there's going to be the PayPal credit option. You just click that. That work?
Yep.
Okay, well, let me see. I've got an email yet. Sometimes it's slow. Awesome. Okay. That one. And then you said for the rest, you want to do a credit card, Lennon?
Yes.
Okay. So just whenever you're ready, I got you in it. It's the last 1100. That's your legal name, right?
Yes.
And then, yeah, just whenever you're ready, just read that off and we're all set.
Okay. 4465.
Okay, and you get here. He started to get the credit card. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. That's it for this. We're gonna move into Ascension, and we're gonna move into client fulfillment. So we take a 5-minute break, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna go into that. So I'll see you guys in just a little bit. All right, guys. So welcome back to day number 5 and 6 of the webinar series on how I went from 0 to over 7 figures in less than 12 months, building my online fitness company, and then scaling to 8 figures and over $100 million in sales. We started with offered lead generation, lead nurturing, sales, and now today we're going to go into client fulfillment and Ascension, where you can actually double your business, doing no extra ad spend, no extra sales, just really taking good care of your clients and sending them into other programs. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. Keep in mind, all the emails, funnels, templates, scripts, everything you're seeing is going to be below the video and the link. All you got to do is opt in, put in your information. We'll send it right over to you. Okay. Everything's free. You don't have to pay anything. Just want to make sure that's super clear. Okay. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive in to the train. Now, specifically today, we're going to be talking about, we work with all types of different businesses, right? But specifically, I was an online fitness trainer. I made a ton of money. And so we get a lot of online fitness trainers who've worked with us. And to date, they've done about $500 million in sales. It's been pretty epic and a really cool experience. Again, for those of you who haven't seen earlier in the video, this was me. Once upon a time, I was a professional fitness model, had pictures of Dalen Bailey, was competing, and I loved fitness, but I knew there was no money in it. And I needed to figure out a way to turn my passion into something that, I could do full time and make a full-time living. These were some of my clients I started working with as I moved into online fitness. And then this is the projection and trajectory from where I was in 2016. I started my business the year after. And then right before the end of 2023, I've done over $100 million in sales. Those are different merchant accounts. And, it's been a pretty wild run. And to date, we've worked with about 50,000 different clients, 25,000 of which have been online trainers, personal trainers, health professionals, dietitians, etc. Now, what we're going to talk about today's first thing is how do you do your fulfillment? So first and foremost, as soon as a client signs up with us, they will see this page. We'll send over agreements. They go to our group. We put them in a WhatsApp group. You don't have to do that. It's up to you where you put them, but just we want somewhere where we can communicate with all our clients very quickly. We get their address and date of birth so we can send them stuff. And then we move them into the membership site, and then we do an onboarding session. From there, this is how we actually intro them into the group. So this is our private Facebook group. We'll bring them in. We'll put the type of program they just signed up for, give them a little intro with their name, talking about, what they're doing and their goals and how we're trying to help them. And we kind of take off from there. And that's really how we start this onboarding process, and we try to make it really good. In fact, in conjunction with that, I'll send a personalized video that they can get from me, so it really helps with the onboarding process. This right here is actually the old fitness group, so there's not as many members now. We actually had people start leaving and so forth because it was kind of dormant for a while, but this is actually where I had a ton of my clients, a couple hundred at one point. I think people started leaving once they saw that we weren't using it for a couple of years, but this was my old actual Fit Warrior Inner Circle coaching for fitness. This here is our onboarding sheet. You'll get access to this. This is how we make sure that all our clients get onboarded correctly. So start date, end date, duration, program, payment plans, or we're paying full recurring invoices. And then we just check these boxes off as we go so we don't miss anything. And this is the other side of it. So if you look here, it just continues on the other side just to make sure that we don't miss anything. We'll give you guys access to that. Next thing is where we have our private base camp. So this is where we communicate with our clients. So you don't have to have this necessarily, but again, I want to show you everything we're doing. So it gives you ideas. It helps you understand what you could do. So for example, we actually have a coaching staff. We have an in-house ad agency. We help hire sellers and closers for our clients, and we have support. It's really nice. And then this is our private executive talk. So it keeps everything in one place, and they have their docs and files. It doesn't get any better than this. Makes it really clear and concise and easy to use. Then here is Slack. This is our internal training. You can also have what we call pods in here. You could do this in Basecamp or in Slack, doesn't really matter. Again, the vehicle does not matter as much as what you're actually doing in terms of fulfillment. But what we find is by putting a couple clients in pods, they encourage each other. They get to help each other. They also coach each other a little bit, and it takes pressure off the one-to-one. Finally, we have our membership site and our courses. In here, you'll see all kinds of different courses we've created over the years. I will say for online training in particular and fitness professionals, it doesn't matter quite as much because a lot of your clients don't really care about learning. They just want to be told what to do. It's a little different than business in the sense that there's not as much to learn in fitness as there is in business in terms of getting those actual results. This is the inside of what those courses may look like. And then inside those actual courses, you click on this. This will be the video. You can put the instructor down here. You can put scripts, so on and so forth. And then in terms of our fitness clients, we use something called Eat This Much, where we can create their nutrition plans. This is how we create, custom nutrition plans. We put in calories. It spits out different types of recipes. And a lot of clients you'll find, even when you're customizing it for them, they're not that picky on the actual food. And so this will actually spit out a bunch of meal plans so you don't actually have to go create on your own. This right here is PT Distinction. We'll have to link to this as well. This is where we send a lot of our trainers. There's a bunch you can use, but we feel this is the best one overall. A few years back, I tried to create my own. Was a huge mistake, and I lost a lot of money, but I learned a lot. And this is where clients will come in, and you could start building out your programs, your workouts. You can slide stuff in, slide stuff out. They can check in. You can have communication, and it makes it so everything is in one place for your clients. And then what I want to do really quick is then go into Ascension. So fulfillment is pretty easy, guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. Most people don't come to me to know how to coach their clients online. It's really just, hey, what app is this and that? But really, it's sales and marketing. That's where people struggle. There's a lot of good trainers out there. Very few make a lot of money because they don't understand sales and marketing. We're going to go into the final video, and this is Ascension. And this is so important because I don't think my company would still be around if we hadn't had this, because you have down months, big months, you hire people, you let people go. A lot of stuff can happen. And so if you're not constantly working on ascending clients, upgrading clients, and getting them results, people don't really stick around. So again, just recap, you guys already saw this. I was in fitness, worked with some clients, have done a lot of money in the last 6 years, and we've helped a lot of people. Now, what is Ascension? Ascension is really moving a paying client to another program. So it's getting the same customer to spend more money, which increases LTV and makes the business more profitable. Now, at the time, this was Fit Warrior Consulting, right? So this was my company, Fit Warrior, is my fitness company. And really, there were only a couple things I could upsell, right? Fitness is a little bit more limited than business, but you still had options. They could either hire me to personally coach them, right? They could pay for more time, so they could re-sign on the same program. They could upgrade to blood work and sub protocol. And again, if you guys go, well, how do I do that? You can outsource this to other companies and just surplus charge them. And then you can also do done for you groceries or meals. People love that as well. Those are the main ones I did. It's not the only ones, but it's how can I get the clients who already pay me to pay more money, to upcharge so they increase the LTV. One option for blood work, for example, is Merrick Health. Okay, Merrick Health is a telehealth company, and you could probably reach out to them and say, hey, I'm going to send all my fitness clients to you. Are you cool if I get a percentage of the cut? Or, are you cool to subsidize the cost so that I can make the difference in the subsidized, price? Meaning, let's say it's $2,000 a month, they lower it to $1,500, and your clients pay you $2,000, you keep $500, you give them the service, whatever it may be, to make it more efficient for you to do upsells. Instacart, easy way to do groceries. People are like, oh, I can't do their grocery shopping for them. You literally could just go and buy all their stuff and send it to their house. Super simple. You don't even have to leave. And you could just do a little bit of an upcharge. You tell them to cover the groceries, pay you a little extra, and then it sends to the house. And you're like, hey, I'm going to have them sent over by someone. They're going to drop them off at the front door. Just make sure you're there. As simple as that. Now, you could do it yourself as well, but it's trying to maximize your profit and minimize how much time it's taking you. This is a video just showing you clients that show up for one-to-one and work directly with me. I just tell them the price straight up. Now, that is really the ways you can upsell in fitness. Not the only ways, but those are the ways I usually recommend. The next thing is how to hire, because at this point in the process, if you have done the sales, you've done the messaging, you got the scripts, you got the funnels, you're running ads, you're going to start needing help. It sounds fun to run the business on your own until you have no time to do anything else. And then you're going to want to start hiring people. So the first thing, make sure you have an organizational chart. Now, we have to fix this one up. This is not completely done, but what you're going to notice is we have people by their names, and then we will hyperlink our documents to their names so everyone knows what their daily tasks are. And if someone in the company isn't doing what they're supposed to do, we could come down on them. This is an example of those SOPs. We'll give you this inside the portal. So again, it's below this video. If you haven't opted in, we'll send it to you. This is all their tasks. And then they break them down by daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, if needed. And then everyone will have videos. They'll list the tasks out, and then they will link any resources, whether it's the Basecamp, Google Docs, whatever. So everything's in one place and it's easy for the company to find. So hopefully that's very straightforward, but keep in mind, the more structure you do early on in your company, the easier it gets later on. Something I didn't do well when I started is I was going so fast. I had very little structure. And now I've had to go back and redo a lot of things that I wish I had done in the beginning. Next thing is job candidates, how to find them. And so let me walk you through kind of an easy way of doing that. So something we like is LinkedIn. You can use Indeed as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys through how we actually go through our LinkedIn applicants. And so we actually pay LinkedIn for 5 job spots. And so right now we're looking for a closer, media buyer, appointment setter, COO, kind of VP of sales, and a business coach. And what's nice about that is we put these up and then people can apply. Now, as they apply, I'll take you through it. Let's just say appointment setter. We actually will link a type form. So what they'll do is they'll come here, they'll click apply, takes them to the type form. They'll come through this, fill it out, and then based on their answers, we'll know who we'd like to hire. And so if you're not familiar with type form, there's nothing crazy about it. It just simply is where you can see applications. So I'll just take you to one we're not using right now. And once they fill this out, we could come in and actually look at the results right here and easily go through them very quickly. And usually I'm only looking for 2 or 3 things before I look deeper into them as a client. And this makes it really easy for us to quickly get applications. You can also post in Facebook groups, your email list, SMS. There's a bunch of things you can do, but that's really the key. And what makes it even cooler is you could come in and list all the questions, right? So for example, like what's your full name, email address, phone number. And so also, if you're watching this and you're a fitness professional, the first thing you're gonna want to hire is probably a coach to take over your clients, because that's the most time consuming. And the next thing is gonna be a setter that's doing your outreach, your DMs, your messaging, those types of things. And then as you're building this out, what's cool is you can create what's logic. And if you guys see this, this is what logic is called. So on number 5, if they say yes, it'll go to 6. But if they say no, it'll go to, we're sorry, you're not a fit. And we do that so that it makes it easier to weed people out and it doesn't take quite as long. And so this is something we use to do our fulfillment. That is pretty much it though, guys. I'm hopefully you got a lot out of this series. I hope that you take it and run with it. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section below. The links to the resources are there. The link to our software is there. Elite 360 has, you know, our funnels, our emails, our templates, all that stuff. You don't have to buy that, but it's $97 and it's a free trial for a week. You could go through that. And again, like, I just want to give back a little bit and show you how I was able to build a multi-million-dollar fitness company, how I was able to change my life. I went on to, you know, consult 50,000 plus people. I've made millions of dollars. I was able to pay my parents' house off. I've been able to financially retire. I've been able to help my brothers, my family. It's been a blessing, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I do feel like I've helped a lot of people go in the right direction. All I'm trying to do is kind of speed up the process for you so that you can go in a better direction and maybe not lose the last little bit of money you had, like I did. Like, it was just very difficult at first, and I paid a lot of money and I went through a lot of coaches and a lot of heartache. And I'm just hoping that part of this will speed up the process for you. So appreciate you guys so much. If you want to help, like, the best thing you can possibly do is just share this with someone, like, share it. And I really appreciate you guys. So hope you have a good rest of your day, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.